One, two, test two. Always got to test those 1-2s. Okay, so let's just start off with this while I'm already on the web page. And guys, if you didn't see my stream last time, I really need to change my Elden Ring character. I should show you. But it is genuinely giving me nightmares now. So I made it look like JD Vance, and I'm regretting it. I'm regretting it every time my character turns around. It gives me a jump scare. But since I have JD Vance on the mind, JD Vance came out and
a person
he's just the guy that the Republicans drag through the muck when they need someone to just like defend the indefensible. And here we have JD Vance talking about these young Republican group chat that got leaked. And what was the leakage in this group chat? Just, it's just stuff that you see on Twitter. That's what it is. Joking about killing your political opponents, being anti-Semitic, anti-gay, anti-trans, just basically like the worst kids you knew in middle school, but distilled into the most hatred-filled form of that, and then given institutional power. So we can see like they include some images of these people. And I think like Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, was even included in this. Like there's these guys have the actual backing of the Republican Party. So you have the worst people on Twitter imaginable, except they're actually like hobnobbing it up with the Republican Party. And they're the group that's supposed to do the youth outreach, right? They're supposed to be the people that funnel Republicans into, funnel college students into the Republican Party. So just a bunch of like disgusting anti-Semitic and racist and homophobic stuff. And we can read into more of this. So everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. So this is about this guy winning the election for the new head of the young Republican Party. And everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to the gas chamber. When do we start bullying, dude? We have all the 3 people who can probably have them want to jump. So they want like their political enemies to kill themselves. If they vote for us, why would they be gassed? We only want true believers. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fix the Hitler aesthetic. I'm ready to watch people burn now. We gotta pretend that we like them. Hey, come on in. Take a nice shower and relax. Boom, they're dead. So, just disgusting Nazi shit. But I'm really just curious what Jebediah Vanity has to say. JD Vance goes on to, what is this,
It's
NBC
reported
News?
by Politico.
It's revolting, it's disgusting, it's obnoxious. It's the kind of garbage the worst kinds of people say when they think no one is watching.
Now, at least 3 people involved in the chat are reportedly out of a job. The Kansas young Republicans deactivated, and many condemning the hateful rhetoric.
Disgusting. If they have government jobs, they should be fired. It's reprehensible.
Vice President J.D. Vance today downplaying the messages.
I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat.
In an earlier post, Vance says
So we're not canceling kids. These people are like 30 years old, mid-30s, 35 years old. Look at this. Look at this child here. The child who's balding and has a comb over. This guy. We don't want to ruin Peter Giunta's life because he said that he, what? The group chat member spoke for you. What did Peter Giunta say exactly? Giunta. Oh, because he said the rape was epic. Look at this shit. Look at this. William Hendricks, the Kansas Republicans' vice chair, used the words the N-word and the N-word with a UH. Variations of racial slur. These are just racial. What do you mean variations of a racial slur? More than a dozen times. He hit that He had that that baker's dozen number. Bobby Walker, the vice chair of the New York State Republicans at the time, referred to rape as epic. Peter Giunta, who at the time was the chair of the same organization, wrote in a message sent in June that everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. This is just a stupid joke, right? According to JD, this young kid, Peter Giunta, we shouldn't ruin a child's life because of a stupid joke that they made about gassing their political opponents. What did JD Vance have to say about Charlie Kirk? JD Vance, Charlie Kirk. Let's just search up like leftists. JD Vance blames left-wing radicals for Charlie Kirk's death. Vance, a growing and powerful minority on the left. VP Vance slams the left for calling for Charlie Kirk's assassination. All right, what do we have? Let's listen to some clips.
For you, but that's B. If you categorize everything under the sun as right-wing violence, you can make your point for you, but that's BS. Nobody's buying it. Look at the way they're celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. Look at the way that this assassin was radicalized by left-wing and probably trans-related stuff. Look at the way that even if you're not committing an act of violence, you were supporting those who do. You see that so much more on the far left, and I wish my friends who are on the left would just look themselves in the mirror and accept that they have a problem. Yes, absolutely. By all means, let's take down the temperature. But if you want to take down the temperature and you're on the left of center, the first and most important thing you can do is look in the mirror.
There you go. And what about these people that are, in your words, making fun of Charlie Kirk's death? What should happen to them?
Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whatever your belief is, I will fight for your right to speak your mind. We reject political violence, and we reject the crazy left-wing radicals that gunned down our friend Charlie Kirk. Let's talk to
The multiple left-wing radicals that gunned down Charlie Kirk.
One another and not try to shoot each other down for disagreeing. Past 10 years, Turning Point USA has not just been an organization, it has been the fountain of a movement.
I'm not going to hear him proselytize, but there was an entire movement on Facebook, or not Facebook, Twitter, to try to get people that wrote stuff about Charlie Kirk banned or fired from their jobs. NPR Kirk firing. He was fired for posting about Charlie Kirk's death. So she wrote, she realized she was going to lose her job. What was the post that she made? I guess I'm not going to say. Less than 3 hours after you log on to Twitter and you see 500,000 people following a page. Okay, what's the listen? Let's listen to it.
Kirk was assassinated, some people mobilized on social media to get critics of the conservative activist fired. That effort even got an endorsement from Vice President J.D. Vance, while the firing campaign...
Oh, really? Wow, what a coincidence. So the campaign to get people fired because of their speech about Charlie Kirk was supported by J.D. Vance. So he actually supported getting people's lives ruined. Interesting. What was that, NPR?
After Charlie Kirk was assassinated, some people mobilized on social media to get critics of the conservative activist fired. That effort even got an endorsement from Vice President J.D. Vance. While the firing campaign has since ebbed, those who were targeted are still grappling with what happened. NPR's Ho Jingnan spoke to one of them.
Alexandra said she was horrified by Kirk's killing.
I felt as bad for him as I feel for any victim of gun violence, especially in schools.
But she's also no fan of Kirk. NPR is only identifying Alexandra by her middle name.
Patriot Mobile stands for faith, family, and freedom.
It definitely angered me that everybody was making him to be a martyr for free speech and some kind of hero.
So she wrote a post on Facebook
about how he reacted to the Pelosi attack
Ahead of the 2022 midterms, a man broke into the home of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. He attacked Pelosi's husband Paul with a hammer and fractured his skull. Days after the attack, which Kirk called awful, here's what he said about the attacker on his podcast.
And why is he still in jail? Why has he not been bailed out? By the way, if some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco or the Bay Area wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out.
Alexandra's post, it read in part, if some amazing patriot out there in Utah wants to be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail out Tyler Robinson. That's the man who's accused of killing Kirk. Her post makes some people angry.
I argue with people on the internet for fun. That's really, or mental disease. But either way, yeah, I'm definitely like Charlie Kirk in that I like to incite debate.
But this time, some people passed her post along to a high-profile account on X that was flagging anti-Kirk posts. Alexandra says the moment she saw the X post, which named...
So anyway, the whole point of this is that these people are hypocrites. But because of that NPR article, like, here's a very explicit counterexample for what JD Vance just said. So
explore every option to bring real unity to our country and stop those who would kill their fellow Americans because they don't like what they say. But you have a role too. Civil society, Charlie understood this well, is not just something that flows from the government. It flows from each and every one of us. It flows from all of us. So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer. We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. And there is no civility in the celebration of political assassination.
Yeah, but there is civility in joking about gassing your political opponents, joking about gassing everyone who didn't vote for you. And if you don't, if you think that that's like ridiculous, well, we shouldn't ruin those kids' lives. So like the people that were joking about Charlie Kirk getting killed, whatever that's supposed to mean, JD Vance says we should fire them, right? We shouldn't kill them. We shouldn't kill them, but we should for sure fire them because there needs to be a time and place in civil society. That's what you hear JD Vance say when it comes to leftists making jokes, not even about violence, but insulting Charlie Kirk, not letting media figures try to whitewash Charlie Kirk. That's what you get the reaction from JD Vance for that. Here you have JD Vance responds to young Republicans' leaked messages.
I'm Pastor Alan Jackson. We've had the privilege of partnering with Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. It was an honor to stand with them in this.
Some group chat of, I think, 12 people that nobody...
I mean, we already saw this. Where's that Facebook post that I was on? Have their lives ruined.
Kid telling a stupid joke. I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat.
In an earlier post,
I mean, literally just advocated for that. So anyway, if it's a Republican advocating for violence against leftists, JD Vance is like, don't ruin their lives. Let's take a moment to reconsider this. Maybe they have a point. Maybe leftists should be put in gas chambers. And maybe F slurs and N words are the scum of the earth that shouldn't be allowed in a white ethno-state America. But when it's someone being like, Charlie Kirk was a really bad guy and I don't care that he got killed, you have this.
So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer.
Hell, call their employer because they have no place in our society.
We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. And there is no civility in the celebration of political assassination. Get involved, get involved, get involved. It's the best way to honor Charlie's legacy.
Get involved, get involved. Anyway, so let's continue reading this article. I just love the idea that he's like, we can't, this fucking 300-pound man who's balding with a comb over and a full-on neck beard, who said that, what the fuck did he write? Oh yeah, he said that he wanted to put his political enemies in gas chambers. He said that we shouldn't ruin the lives of children. Just because children are making edgy jokes in a group chat doesn't mean their lives should be ruined. So they worried about what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. That's brave. That's really brave. They referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed supported slavery. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans' vice chair, used the N-words. Peter Giunta wrote in a message that everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. Giunta was referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should become chair of the Young Republicans National Federation. So he's like talking about gassing other young Republicans. Oh, it's a 15,000 member political organization for Republicans between 18 and 40 years old. Yeah. We must protect the future of our children and not hold them accountable to saying they want to gas their political opponents. I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers. 2 members of the chat responded. How we fix the showers? I'm ready to watch people burn. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republicans leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how new generation GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. Kind of interested. Do we have any videos of Peter Giunta? Because how do they talk when they know people are listening? Staten Island Republican fires chief of staff over alleged text comments, including "I love Hitler." Oh, he's probably just quoting Ye, right? Assemblymaker Mike Riley has fired his chief of staff due to alleged comments made in a text thread. Peter Giunta, who worked for Riley, he's literally working for assembly members. He said, "I love Hitler," and everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. That's pretty funny. But why should we ruin the lives of young children just because of edgy chats? Like, come on, JD Vance, call this guy out. Call out Mike Riley for firing this guy, for ruining his burgeoning political career. Here's the Hill. Who are the young Republicans in explosive group chat? Who are they? Peter Giunta. He's the former chair of the New York State Young Republicans. Giunta was the most prominent voice in the chat spreading racist messages. "I love Hitler," Giunta reportedly said. Bobby Walker. Walker took over as chair of the New York State Young Republicans after Giunta resigned last month. For much of the time of the text messages span, Walker served as vice chair. In the political story, Walker was reported to have referred to a reported rape as epic and used a homophobic slur, the F slur. Though Politico noted he was also the group's main target for the same epithet. Oh man. In one instance, he also talked about a friend who dated this very obese Indian woman for a period of time, precipitating a discussion relying on racist stereotypes. I mean, yeah, these guys are just such fucking losers. And they just, like, instead of actually having a personality or anything, they're just bigoted against each other, like, against everyone else in the world, including each other, right? We're gonna gas you. I only want true believers, even though you're white. Like, I only want true believers, right? Like Indians, gay people, black people, Jews. No one's safe from our targeting. We're so fucking awesome and edgy. Okay, do we have a video here?
Politico published an explosive new report revealing thousands of vile racist text messages exchanged among some young Republican leaders. It's so bad that some of them are losing their jobs. The text messages referred to black people as, quote, monkeys and the watermelon people. They discussed putting political rivals in gas chambers and sexually assaulting them. There was also praise for Republicans who they think support slavery. The texts happen over the course of around 7.
Bro, I want to see the list of Republicans who the young Republicans think support slavery. Like, this should be the top story. Young Republicans believe that a significant portion of the Republican Party is in support of slavery. Give me that. Give me those text messages.
Months. Which states young GOP groups are involved? New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont, according to Politico's reporting. The leaked group chats have sent shockwaves throughout the political world and have sparked wide condemnation. It offers a window into how some younger political activists...
This video is not adding anything. Let's just take a look. Young Republicans posed pictures. Where's Peter Giunta? That's what I want to see. Young Republicans face backlash after racist chats leak. The U.S. Young Republicans express love for fascism. God damn, bro. This isn't even Peter Giunta.
So the tradition of leaked chats involving Republican leaders is back in the headlines again. At this time, these chats are not military related, but they are downright racist, anti-Semitic, and extremely problematic. Now, the leaked chats of the young Republican youth leaders have revealed these unfiltered and dark conversations that they have about their political opponents. The language of these messages can be disturbing to many. Now, according to chats that have been leaked and have been accessed by the American media outlet Politico, nothing apparently is out of bounds for these young leaders when they message themselves. Bullying, racism, fascism, anti-Semitism, and a strange kind of love for Adolf Hitler. The issues that have historically been...
A strange kind of love for Adolf Hitler. Yeah, I don't know, man. If you're paying attention to American politics, it does not seem that strange.
...considered extremely controversial and in many cases illegal, and are finding their support base inside these American political chat groups. So let's take a look at some of these very, very problematic text messages that have been exchanged in these chats that have been accessed by Politico. Now, this exchange is part of a chat that took place amongst the young Republican activists on Telegram. The group has young Republican leaders from New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. Now, the prominent names in these chat groups include the likes of Bobby Walker, Peter Giunta, Joe Maligno, and...
Let's see here. Occupy Democrats on Facebook images. I just want to find out one image. Occupy Facebook. Oh, this is gonna be bad, isn't it? Gonna be some bad shit. I don't know. Facebook, it honestly kind of scares me. Anyway, guys, like, it's sad because this isn't surprising, right? And you already have JD Vance dismissing it. There has been some pushback from like lower level Republicans, like that guy Mike Riley who fired Peter Giunta from working for him. However, you have guys at the top of the Republican Party like JD Vance and more people, like there's going to be more people to follow suit that are going to completely defend this. There's going to, like, we already know that Republicans kind of think this way behind closed doors. But the fact that they're not disavowing it, the fact that they're not distancing themselves from shit like this, and you just get the weak, oh, well, we shouldn't ruin people's lives for just making some locker room talk, is really concerning when the locker room talk is, I love Hitler, we're all fascists, we should gas people, I hate black people, I hate Asians, I hate Indians. Like, man, the fact that the vice president felt like he needed to, like, I know we're living in a fucking dystopia, but the fact that the vice president of the United States felt like he needed to publicly defend these statements and not actually just disavow them immediately is kind of fucked up if you aren't completely subsumed by American politics. Like, if you popped in, if this story came out like 10 years ago, you'd be like, what the hell happened? Why is the vice president defending just outright racist white supremacist chats? And then you see the broader context of where the Republican Party is, and you're like, oh yeah, like we we made ICE one of the world's largest funded armies, and they're just going around racially profiling people, so, and like beating up their political opponents. So this is an actual official arm of the Republican Party right now. Like ICE is their thugs that they're sending around. It kind of makes sense that they wouldn't publicly disavow a white supremacist fascist group chat. So anyway, who are the Republicans? Who are the fucking Republicans that they're like, yeah, he loves slavery, let's go? The dynamic of easy racism and casual cruelty played out in often dark, vivid fashion inside the chats where campaign talk and party gossip blurred into streams of slurs and violent fantasies. I mean, yeah, the other thing that you need to keep in mind is like, look at the people. Look at the people that are in these group chats. These people are impotent. They do not have good things going on in their lives. They're losers. And so when they can fantasize about, taking power into their own hands and sexually assaulting people, or just like being racist and using an ethno-state to feel like they have empowerment, this is truly the epitome of the Republican Party. This is the type of impotence and hatred and deep dissatisfaction that people have within their own lives that the Republicans are tapping into and using hatred as a tool to activate people like this. These people have kind of like picked up the ball and ran with it, and it's kind of like this self-feeding, self-sustaining ideology where they were inspired by hatred. It makes them feel powerful, and they're going to go on to inspire other people by hatred because, that's how they expand their political power, by spreading hatred. It both makes them feel powerful, and it also sustains their power by making other people listen to what they have to say and stuff. But it's worth noting, like, you have ICE that is kind of like a manifestation of this type of hatred. But other than that, the military's not really getting involved. It's kind of like ICE or bust. ICE is made up of a bunch of people like this, though. You minority groups, who are the... Why don't you just list the minority groups that are spared instead of all of the ones that were targeted? Giunta, who serves as chief of staff to New York State Assembly member Mike Riley, ultimately fell 6 points short of winning the chairship of the lead Republican National Federation earlier this year, despite earning endorsements from Stefanik and longtime Trump advisor Roger Stone. Riley did not respond to requests for comment. Earlier this year, Stefanik accepted an award from the New York State Young Republican. She allotted Giunta for his tremendous leadership in August and had a campaign in the political PAC she leads donate to that state organization. Alex DeGrasse, the senior advisor for Stefanik, said the congresswoman was absolutely appalled to learn about the alleged comments. Oh, so she was appalled by it, huh? Well, I don't know. Maybe if she saw what J.D. Vance had to say, she'd have a different tune. According to the description provided by Politico, the comments were heinous, anti-Semitic, racist, and unacceptable, he continued, noting Stefanik has never employed anyone in the chat. If the description by Politico is accurate, Congresswoman Stefanik calls for any New York young Republicans responsible for these horrific comments in this chat to step down immediately. Stone also condemned the comments in the section in a statement. A few minority groups are spared from young Republicans group chat. Their rhetoric, normalized at most points as dark humor, mirrors some popular conservative political commentators, podcasters, and comedians amid a national erosion of what's considered acceptable discourse. Giunta's line on a darker-skinned pilot, for example, echoed one used by a slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk last year when he said, "If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified." Walker also uses the moniker Eye Patch McCain in an apparent reference to GOP Representative Dan Crenshaw. Okay, so now we're going with the Republican one-eyed veterans. They're a minority group that's been targeted too. They were influenced by Trump's language. Yeah, obviously, white supremacist symbols. Yeah, they used a lot of white supremacist symbols like 1488. Another conversation in February, Ganta talks approvingly about the Orange County Teenage Republican Organization in New York, which appears to be a part of the network of national teenage Republicans, and he was pleased with its young members' ideological bent. They support slavery and all that shit. Mega based, he said. The term based, yeah, we know what based means. And then, bro, like, these people being exposed as being racist pieces of shit is one thing, but I love the fact that they're like identifying all of these other parts of the Republican Party, which are absolutely as morally bankrupt as these guys in the group chat. They're like, oh yeah, the Teenage Republicans Orange County organization, it supports slavery. Mike Johnson is a slavery supporter. This is so awesome. Like, I think it should be a bigger story of who these people are highlighting as being just as Nazi-filled as them. I mean, it's going to be most of the Republican Party. Our teen volunteers, so they're all like disavowing it. Vicious words for enemies. Many of the slurs, epithets, and violent language used in the chat often appeared to be intended as jokes. Anti-Hispanic slurs, anti-gay slurs, anti-Asian slurs. Oh, did you look it up yet? Just did. Probably shouldn't have on my work computer. The Spanish came to America and had sex with every single woman. Sex is gay. Sex, it was rape. Epic. Okay. Okay. If we ever had a leak to this chat, nothing more than the sad and pathetic attempt at a political hit job. But in their Restorer EYR War Room chat, he and Walker speak flippantly about mishandling the club's finances. Oh my god. $1,000 for Ozempic. $500 for balding cream. Bro. This is almost more damning than the outright racism. Just like, oh yeah, yeah, we should probably get like just use the finances for our own inadequacies. I drained $10K tonight to pay for my next vacation to Italy. They appeared to joke about the organization's bank account. I spent it on a massage. Great, I can't wait to get sued by our venue. In one instance, he joked about bombing the Young Republican National Federation's convention in Nashville and then remarked, just kidding, for our assigned FBI tracker. Wow, it's just like, this is really... If we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be cooked for real, for real. Well, at least they're self-aware, right? How did it leak? I don't know how it leaked. Someone probably sent it to Politico. Bro, the pictures in this are fucking comical. They're so good. Ozempic and balding. These young Republicans really do morph into the same type of person, don't they? They all look like they started off as different people, and as they're aging, they're slowly growing into one like anatomical structure, like one character design that they have. It's all the same build. Fat, greasy, balding. He's like filled with hatred. Anyway, is it really a surprise though? I think it's really fascinating how JD Vance is defending these guys, and all of the actual organizations that they highlighted or they were a part of is disavowing them. It's one more instance, I think, where you're seeing the national Republicans getting way further out in terms of their extremism than the local organizations. And I think that's because the national Republicans don't feel like they're going to lose power in the coming elections. I think that could be another indicator, unfortunately, that these Republicans really don't think they're going to lose. They think they're going to like stay in power for a long time. And it's these extreme radicals like the guys in the group chat that are the next generation that is like supporting the Trump administration So, of course, they're going to defend it. Why would they publicly disavow the guys that they're relying on to let them stay in power and to like support them? They need people like this to take over organizations so that these institutional organizations are just going to be as ideologically far right as the Trump administration is. But you are seeing kind of a disconnect between like the federal Republicans and the local ones. Like even Elise Stefanik came out and is like, oh no, I don't support these guys at all. I never had one work for me. And JD Vance is like, we shouldn't let little baby children, infant toddlers, have their lives ruined for making racist jokes that also say that they want to kill all of their political opponents.
A person who is very politically powerful, who is about to become one of the most powerful law enforcement officers in the country,
George
that
Santos,
seriously wishing for political violence and political assassination is 1,000 times worse than what a bunch of young people, a bunch of kids say in a group chat, however offensive it might be. That's just reality. And if you allow yourself to be distracted by this person's incredible endorsement, disgusting endorsement of political assassination by focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up.
Grow up. You can't make fun of Charlie Kirk because he's actually a conservative. But if you say that you want to put all of your opponents in gas chambers and you know that black people are monkeys, that's just a silly little group chat. Just a silly little group chat. Just ignore the fact that they're taking multiple pictures next to elected official Republicans and they actually work for Republicans. Okay. Close some tabs here. I love Hitler. I love Hitler. Oh, you just mean the fashion sense. You're a stylish guy. You just mean the fashion, right? Right? Right, yay? No, when I say I love Hitler, I mean I love Hitler. Bro, that's so fucking funny. Okay, let's get into this. So Zohran went on to Fox News and he says too early to give Trump credit in Middle East peace deal. So if they're going to be talking about that, we might as well get into some of this. So after hostages and prisoners are freed, complex issues remain for Israel-Hamas ceasefire. Let's do a little bit of an update on the ceasefire agreement. Jerusalem, Israel and Hamas moved ahead on a key first step of the tenuous ceasefire agreement on Monday by freeing hostages and prisoners. Hostages. It's saying they're prisoners implies that they actually went to prison for crimes that were adjudicated and they were convicted of. Over 2,000 Palestinians were released. Out of that number, only 250 were actually convicted of crimes. And of course, those convictions were done in military tribunals, which are not actually fair at all. Like, we know how the IDF treats Palestinians. I would not trust a military tribunal from an Israeli court, especially when it comes to trying Palestinian people that they want to put in the prison. But, like, basically, it's just like 250 out of those 2,000 Palestinians released were in front of a judge at some point, or were in front of whatever kind of person like adjudicates a military tribunal in Israel. The thornier issues such as whether Hamas will disarm and who will govern Gaza and the question of a Palestinian statehood remain unresolved, highlighting the fragility of an agreement that for now only pauses the deadliest conflict in the history of Israel and in the history of the Palestinians, really. Like, it's not deadly for Israelis. For Israelis, the release of the 20 remaining living hostages brought elation and a sense of closure to a war many felt that were forced into by Hamas, although many pledged to fight on for the return of the deceased hostages still in Gaza. Once again, the only reason why they don't have all of the deceased hostages that are in Gaza is because of the absolute devastation and destruction that the IDF brought upon that area of land. If there wasn't as an extensive of a bombing campaign as there is, they wouldn't have all of these deceased hostages buried under the rubble. The IDF is likely responsible for killing the majority of the deceased hostages that are still in Gaza. The urgency with which many were driven to call for an end to the war will likely diminish, easing pressure on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to advance the next phases of the agreement. 4 deceased hostages were returned to Israel on Monday, and another 24 are supposed to be turned over as part of the first phase of the ceasefire, which also requires Israel to allow a surge of food and other humanitarian aid into Gaza. While there was an outburst of joy in Gaza for prisoners returning from Israel and hope that the fighting may wind down for good, torment drags on for war-weary Palestinians. Gaza has been decimated by Israeli bombardment. There's little left of its pre-war economy. God, that's kind of a fucking joke. Basic services are in disarray and many homes have been destroyed. It remains unclear who will pay for reconstruction, a process that could take years. Israel says the deal achieves its war objectives. President Donald Trump traveled to the region to celebrate the deal. In an address to Israel's parliament, he urged lawmakers to seize a chance for broader peace in the region. In Egypt, he and other world leaders gathered to set the trickier parts of the deal into motion. Netanyahu told parliament that he was committed to the agreement, saying it ends the war by achieving all our objectives. Israel had said it would not end the war until all the hostages were freed and Hamas was defeated. Critics accused Netanyahu of allowing the war to drag on for political reasons, which he denied. There are also critics saying that Netanyahu should try to kill more Palestinians, right? Every interview we saw with an Israeli was like, I feel happy, but I also feel sad because I don't want people to forget the hatred in their heart for Palestine. That's every Israeli interview that we saw. Oh, the war began with Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack. Yeah, sure. Israel is elated by the return of the living hostages. Who gives a fuck? Israel frees some 1,900 Palestinian prisoners. Not true. They were hostages. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. The prisoners include 250 people serving life sentences for convictions and attacks on Israelis, throwing rocks at tanks, in addition to 1,700 seized from Gaza during the war and held without charge. What do you call that? What do you call it when you see someone during a war and you hold them without charge? Are they prisoners? Are they prisoners? Are they prisoners of war? No, because prisoners of war implies that they're soldiers, right? So, bro, like, I know I've made this point ad nauseum, but every time I see it, it triggers me. So you're saying that 1,700 people that were released were seized during war and held without a charge, and those are prisoners, but when the Palestinians seize someone during war and hold them without a charge, they're a hostage. Make it make sense. Like, this is the AP. You can be more clear with your, like, dude, it's insane that it's literally the exact same thing and they insist on a differing language. I covered like a post by Obama I think like last week, where he's like, Israeli families are suffering because of the war, and we know that the Palestinian people are suffering too. It's like the insistence on differing and demeaning language for Palestinians, or at least like not humanizing language for Palestinians, while constant humanizing of the Israelis. Oh, there was elation for Israel. Israel is elated by the return of the living hostages. Okay, we're not going to talk about the Palestinians. Where is the segment about how the Palestinians are feeling? Oh, there's no segment about that about how the Palestinians are feeling. Interesting. In this article about look the insistence on the language, right? Hostages and prisoners are freed. You could just say hostages are freed. It would literally be less work for you to be a shitty, demeaning, or like anti-Palestinian racist. It'd be less work for you to not be racist than it is for you to be racist. So Israel says the deal achieves its war objectives. Okay, cool. Israel is elated by the return of the living hostages. Israel frees some 1,900 Palestinian prisoners. Trump celebrates the deal. Nothing about the Palestinian side. Nothing about how the Palestinians are feeling. About how like what Hamas's goal is with the ceasefire negotiations. Nothing about this. Just complete one-sided reporting on this shit. But like, what should we expect from American media? What should we expect? Why would we expect anything different? This is Palestinian journalist. This is what the AP is not. This is what the AP is not reporting on. How the Palestinians are feeling.
هذه الكومة في الخلف كانت تسمى منزلي. منزل من طابقين.
And like, it's so, I don't know, man. It is insane. It's insane how our media that when it comes to domestic issues, it insists about reporting on both sides of the issue. We're going to say that, like, 99% of scientists believe global warming is happening, but 1% says that it's a hoax. We're going to bring on one scientist that says it's real and one scientist that says it's wrong. Because in the fairness of both sides, we need to give more voices to the Republicans. What happened with Barry Weiss? She got hired by like fucking CNN or something. Barry Weiss hiring. We need to bring on more conservative voices. She got hired by Paramount. CBS News. It's especially alarming. Okay. You tell the truth too much. That is biased against conservatives. So in America, you have this shit, and then when it comes to like, humanizing Palestinians at all, just no fucking media outlet can be bothered to do it. It's just, oh, the Israelis are happy. The Israelis are worried the Palestinians still are alive. Israel said that this is their military objective. Why aren't they covering what happens? Why aren't they covering the experiences of the Palestinian people? Because you'd actually have to see the death and destruction brought upon Palestine by American foreign affairs.
كل طابق 200 متر وهنا كانت الحديقة والأسواق.
So it's basically like this pile of rubble behind me was our house. The floors were 200 meters. We had a garden. We had flowers. We had a fence. All that has become a pile of rubble. The occupation not only destroyed the stones, the roof, the walls, but it also destroyed memories. Yeah, I mean, the whole point of destroying Gaza is to remove all memory of the Palestinian people from that land. We've seen Israel do this before. It's the exact same reason why they have a law, a semi-constitutional law that says that no federal funds can go towards commemorating the Nakba. It's why they've completely destroyed Palestinian cultural centers within Israel, because the more reminder there is that there was Palestinian people there before European colonizers came there and said it's Israel, the more difficult it is to make the claim that this is rightfully the colonizer's land. It's more difficult to do that when there's reminders that there were people there before you. This is just part of colonization.
لكنه دمر الذكريات. كما يقال بنينا هذا المنزل طوبة طوبة كل قطعة لها قصة معنى.
Every piece has a story, meaning memories.
وربيت أولادي فيه وتزوجت في هذا.
I raised my children in this house. I got married in this house.
لم يدمر ماضينا فقط أيضا ولكنه دمر المستقبل.
Not only has our past been destroyed, but so has our future.
أنا وزوجتي وأطفالي الخمسة.
My wife, our 5 children, and I will live without shelter.
سنعيش في العراء حالنا حال الشعب الفلسطيني في قطاع.
Our situation, like many Palestinians living in Gaza.
ولكن هذه اللحظات مؤلمة. هذا الكنب وغرفنا أطفالي. عمران الذي لم يزد عن 3 سنوات.
My child, who's only been 3 years old now, who has not seen anything of the world,
سيربو هكذا بالعراء.
Will grow up homeless.
في النزوح في الخيام.
In tents. mean, and that's assuming, and I know like this is a very touching moment, but that's assuming that him, his wife, and his 5 children, like, will live up at all. Like, it's insane to say, you see this guy, he has nothing. You have fucking the Associated Press saying that, you know, the economy is not what it used to be. The economy within Gaza is not what it used to be. The economy has been greatly damaged. But it's insane to say that this guy, who's recording himself like breaking down because the only thing left of his life pre-October 7th is a pile of rubble. It's crazy to say that he's lucky. He's one of the lucky ones that him and his family get to live in a tent outside the rubble that used to be his house. That's one of the lucky families within Gaza, that he still has all of his children, that he's still alive, that his wife is still alive. And it's brave of him to even just make this video, because we know Israel does not allow journalists within Gaza, and Israel has targeted and put out bounties on Palestinians that do journalism within Gaza.
هذه الإبادة الأخرى، إبادة ماضينا ومستقبلنا.
This is the other genocide, the annihilation of our past and our future. Freed Palestinian detainee returns to the ruin of his Gaza home. I mean, bro, it's just, you have this much fucking suffering, and the Associated Press has the nerve to put out an update on the ceasefire, an article with an update of the ceasefire. And they're like, Israelis elated for the returned hostages. And then they're like, oh yeah, and there's like 2,000 Palestinians, something about like, they were snatched up, they're prisoners. They were snatched up without a trial, but like, trust me, they're prisoners. They're for sure prisoners. They're not hostages or anything like that. They're just completely illegally snatched up by an occupying force and kept in prison for 2 years. But don't worry about it. Like, they're beaten and tortured. Who cares? Greta Thunberg absolutely just like fucked on when she was put in Israeli prison. But don't worry about it. Let's just look at how happy the Israelis are that they got their 28 hostages back. And oh, you're curious about what's happening in Palestine? Well, we don't know, because Israel doesn't let us, and we're not even going to ask or try to like get any Palestinian reporters. I don't know, man. That just seems hard to do. We're just ignoring that. Like, so this is a story. Oh, people were having parties in Tel Aviv. You should have seen the electric dance music in Tel Aviv. It was awesome. My nose got to bleed because of how fucking bass the vibrations were on the dubstep when the beat dropped. That was sick, bro. It was sick. They brought the Israeli hostage back, and then he was like dancing the next day. We're just gonna report on that. We're not actually gonna do any kind of fucking journalism about what's happening in Gaza. Our home was bombed on December 11th.
واستشهدوا أهلي الحمد لله في المنزل أبوي وأمي وأخوي وأختي وستي وعمامي واستشهدوا.
Said 400 of his relatives were killed, all of his immediate family.
عمه وخاله وأخوالي والأمور هذه إيش يعني 400 شهيد في العائلة. وبعدك نزلت على العلاج على الأحيان عالجت وخش الجيش على المدرسة واعتقلني من المدرسة.
So he was staying at a school after his house was stormed, or after his house was bombed. The school was stormed by the IDF. They captured him. They transferred him to Israel without any medical treatment. He was seriously injured. He was tortured and interrogated for 3 days.
وحطوني في التحقيق تقريبا فوق ال3 أيام في السقعة وأنا مجرح مشطب.
In freezing conditions while wounded and in pain.
مغرز مبهدل ومكسر. بالأحرى إنه قاعدين في تحقيق.
They broke his leg and his ribs.
كسروا له رجلي يعني كسروا له هنا رجلين وما كانوش يعالجينه بالمرة يعني. الجوع أكلنا.
He didn't have warmth. He didn't have food. He didn't have medical care.
سقعة أكلتنا، المرض أكلنا، الخوف أكلنا، نقلونا على السجون، برضه السجون على العوفر نقلونا، قعدنا تحت التعذيب وتحت الضرب وتحت الخوف الحمد لله. بعد سنتين من الحرية روحت غزة طبعا لقيت بيتي نازل.
He's tortured more when he returned. His house is completely destroyed.
وشقتي نازلة كمان ولقيت زي ما انتم شايفين هاي الدمار وهاي كل شيء الحمد لله. طبعا هذا كله فضل وكرامات من ربنا يعني الحمد لله.
I mean, you look at what's happening in Gaza, and like a few weeks ago, we were watching that Amon Animations video, and he used Gaza as kind of like a stand-in for hell, and it does look like hell. It looks like an absolute hellscape, a ruinous landscape. Like, really, Gaza has now become synonymous with just uninhabitable, the worst conditions imaginable. That's kind of what Gaza has become. And you see these people released to Gaza, released basically, you know, they're leaving Israel, they're leaving Israeli prisons, and they're going into the worst possible place you can really imagine. Like unlivable conditions. That's what Gaza is. And they're happy to be there. They're happy to be with their families. They're happy to be out of Israeli prisons. And I think that's just an indicator of how atrocious Israeli prisons are. We didn't really cover it on this stream, but yeah, like Greta Thunberg was tortured in Israeli prisons, and she didn't make a big deal about it because rightfully she's like, I am not the story here. I'm not the person that people should be talking about. But I think that it is worth covering too. The fact that the IDF is like torturing a world famous activist. What are they going to do to the Palestinian that they take who no one knows the name of? And they've killed their entire family.
Precis släppt från ett israeliskt tortyrfängelse i öken. Och ärligt talat så vet jag inte riktigt vad jag ska säga. För oavsett vad vi säger så finns det inget som biter. Det finns ingenting som leder till handling från våra regeringar. Trots att under internationell lag de har en rättslig skyldighet att agera för att förhindra och stoppa folkmord. Det som hände var inte bara att Israel kidnappade oss och...
Damn, Kelsey, like, I kind of want to throw that up on stream, even though, yeah, I believe you that it is kind of horrible to watch.
Torterade oss, utan att framförallt under ett pågående eskalerande folkmord där Israel uttalat försöker radera hela Gazaremsan och det palestinska folket, den palestinska nationen. Israel återigen bröt internationell rätt och förhindrade humanitär nödhjälp, mediciner, mat, vatten från att komma in till en svältande befolkning. Men det här har sagts tusentals gånger redan och som sagt, det biter inte. Personligen vill jag inte dela vad jag utsattes för jag vill inte att det ska bli rubriker och Greta har torterats. För det är inte det som är historien här.
I know, yeah, you're right, Kelsey. Like, it's so messed up to think about, but it's like you're as someone that the IDF has deemed dangerous enough to put into prison, and obviously you're not a prisoner, you're just a hostage at that point, but as someone that the IDF is deemed dangerous enough to take hostage, you actually like are safer and treated more humanely than just like people left behind, innocent people left behind, children and women that the IDF just bombs and kills, because they're just trying to do terrorism. Okay, so let's do a quick update on this. Oh, and then while we're on this, so Marwan Barghouti is referred to kind of as the Palestinian Nelson Mandela. He has the support of a lot of Palestinians to become like the next leader of Palestine. He is someone that the IDF has refused to release in these hostage exchanges because they know that he actually can be a unifying force, that he actually can be a voice for Palestinians that can get like international recognition and support from different countries. And so Israel is refusing to actually give him up. And since we're talking about how Greta Thunberg was tortured in Israeli prisons, and while we're on the subject, this guy, after the hostage exchange, the fucking day, today, he was beaten up by the Israeli prison guards. So they released hostages, and as they're releasing hostages, the one hostage that they refuse to release because he can actually be a unifying voice for Palestine and someone who can gain international respect and recognition for a Palestinian state, they fucking torture the guy. The Israeli prison guards, just out of spite, torture this guy. Oh, we're releasing Palestinians? Well, fuck you, we're gonna beat up your leader in prison. And of course they're going to leak it. This is another like play that, oh, we have power over the Palestinian people. Palestinian sources report that prominent security prisoner Marwan Barghouti suffered 4 broken ribs after being beaten by Israeli prison guards last month. Well, I guess it was last month, but it was released today. So I guess it was voices. I mean, this is probably also to do with the hostage exchange being rumored and being talked about, and the Israeli prison guards being like, no, we are not giving up our power over you. We're going to beat the shit out of you. And then once the Palestinian prisoners were actually released, it's crazy that you have to have the Palestinian prisoners released in order for this information to leak. Like, the people that are in prison witnessing this shit getting released have to be the ones that leak it. There are no leaks within the IDF. It's just like, yeah, we tortured him. Former Fatah leader was allegedly beaten while being transferred between detention facilities in mid-September from Ramon to Bejido prison, according to a statement from the Hamas-linked Prisoners Information Office. Itamar Ben-Gvir, who oversees the Israeli prison service as the national security minister, denies the allegations, but in the same breath says he's proud that Barghouti's conditions have changed drastically. The murderer Barghouti knows that today terrorists like him are dealt with firmly, which is why he invents fake news in an attempt to rouse his loathsome terrorist comrades who left him behind in the deal. Barghouti, seen by many Palestinians as a potential successor to Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, has been incarcerated since 2002. He is serving 5 cumulative life terms plus 40 years in prison for helping plan attacks during the Second Intifada that killed 5 civilians. Oh, wow. So 5 life terms plus 40 years in prison for killing 5 people. So what? We're gonna have like the entirety of the IDF in prison for eternity now? That what we're doing? We should just make a new prison and call it purgatory. Barghouti has denied the charges against him and has also rejected the Israeli court's jurisdiction to try him as a member of the Palestinian Authority's parliament. Hamas negotiators press hard to have Barghouti freed in a recent hostage prisoner exchange. This is the other thing. Oh, 20 Israeli hostages held in Palestine getting released. We're only going to be covering that. We can't be fucking bothered. Like that Associated Press article. No one can be bothered to actually list the real number of Palestinian detainees that were released. Over 1,700 Palestinian detainees, around 2,000 Palestinians. Dude, even Israel isn't calling them prisoners. They're calling them detainees. Even the Times of Israel is calling them the detainees. He should have been sentenced to death a long time ago. I love how the one comment is, we should kill him. Oh, torture? We should just kill him.
He's known as the Palestinian Mandela. Political leader Marwan Barghouti was arrested by Israeli military forces in 2002 and has been in prison ever since. His son, Arab Barghouti, was just 11 years old when his father was detained. Today, he speaks to me here on Roundtable about his struggle for justice.
Damn, bro, this intro goes hard.
Mandela, who was in prison for 27 years. Marwan Barghouti, a Fatah leader and former politician, has suffered a similar fate. He spent more than 2 decades behind Israeli bars, yet remains one of the most popular and unifying figures in Palestinian politics, even touted as a potential successor to President Mahmoud Abbas.
I am calling on the great Palestinian people for unity, to be together to establish a national unity government, to continue with the popular, non-violent resistance in order to...
I mean, yeah, they're just saying that he planned terrorist attacks. He didn't actually kill anyone. He's not a terrorist. He's a Palestinian leader. And as a Palestinian, and especially one with like an air of power, the IDF is going to do whatever they can to justify putting him in prison. I mean, I'm honestly kind of surprised they haven't killed him yet.
End the occupation.
Arrested during the Second Intifada in 2002, he was handed 5 life sentences by an Israeli court on charges of orchestrating attacks, charges he has never recognized. Barely seen since his imprisonment, in September last year, Palestinian prisoner support groups claimed he was brutally assaulted by Israeli officials while he was in solitary confinement. Earlier this year, the world glimpsed a frail Barghouti after Israeli Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir posted a video of him taunting the political prisoner, sparking outrage.
Whoever messes with the people of Israel, whoever murders our children, whoever murders our women, we will obliterate them.
His case...
Like, I wonder if Israel is keeping this guy in their prison and keeping him alive simply because it's just a quite literal show of dominance over the leader of Palestine. And if they ever did kill him, he would become a martyr. He would become like a rallying cry that Palestinian people and the supporters of Palestinian people can hold up. And then there would be a new Palestinian leader that emerges. I wonder if it's just like, this is your leader. We have him. We have him in our prison. We literally have like our thumb over your leader. We can do whatever we want. It's complete domination. And it almost leaves Palestine like stuck, right? Unable to choose someone that can actually come forward and lead their people. Because the person that does have the support of Palestinians is just locked in Israeli prisons forever until he dies. Oh, do not worry podcast. Oh my god, I don't know if I should be associating with you. No, just kidding. Oh, 9:30 a.m. Nice. I should probably be in bed, but dude, I know we were texting a little bit about like covering the Hassan shock collar thing. If you're interested, send me a DM on Discord or something. You could hop on. I haven't covered that yet today, but I do think it would be funny to cover.
Reflects a broader reality. At the end of December 2024, Israel's prison service was holding 9,619 Palestinians on what it defined as security grounds.
9,619 Palestinians. And they released 1,900, what was it, 38?
Including 2,216 from Gaza. Another 1,705 Palestinians were in custody for being in Israel without permits. For many Palestinians, Barghouti's continued detention is more than personal. It symbolizes a struggle for freedom still unfinished, and acts as a symbol of their resilience.
Well, I'm delighted to say I can now speak to Marwan Barghouti's son, Arab Barghouti, who joins us from Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Arab, you're very welcome to this roundtable. I want to begin by talking about your father's status as what has been described as the world's most important prisoner. Just remind our viewers on Roundtable why your father is such a key figure. I've heard him described as a legend of Palestine. Just remind our viewers why that is.
Well, I think that my father's story is a Palestinian story. He's someone who grew up in under the occupation, under the military occupation. He's seen what the brutal occupation has brought to this land. And he started struggling from a very young age, struggling for the Palestinian freedom and independence. And he got imprisoned at the age of 15 the first time, and 50 years ago he is still in prison. He's someone who spent 30 years of his life in prison, 7 years in exile. He sacrificed a lot, but at the same time that did not stop him from being a very well-educated person. He holds a master's degree in international relations. He holds a PhD in political science.
Bro, I just had a mental image of like seeing Gila Klein walking behind this guy in the background. You see Gila Klein like looking in through the window as this guy's doing his interview. Oh my god. But did you see that? This is very scary. A Palestinian with a gun. Oh my god. Oh my god, guys, they've got a gun. I saw this post. I didn't cover this shit, but I'm kind of interested. So this is, I'm done. What's going on here? I'm assuming this is at least partially in response to the reaction to Anthony's takes on Colorgate. From what I observed, there was certainly pushback, but it didn't seem like anyone wanted Anthony to stop podcasting. Titles like that get more views. And maybe I should title my streams this. That's more or less it. Let's see. What are the most unhinged supplies on here? He was in post here name calling people who are critical of him. Oh my god, Anthony. You called people names on the internet? I don't know if I can be associated with you anymore. He had a brigade who were downvoting every Dude, you had a brigade and you didn't come to me to help brigade this shit? He had a brigade who were downvoting every critical comment and laughing on them. Hashtag very Ethan coded if you ask me. He was my easiest unsubscribe thus far. Oh my god, dude. So because you were laughing at critical comments, I can't support content creators who laugh at people that are critical of them. No, that's something that I just can't abide by. Ironically, one of his followers, or maybe a sock puppet account, accused me of cutting every person who dissents out of my... Okay, who cares? These are just people that are like, I had internet beefs and I'm going to talk about it now. Essentially, people were really upset at Anthony for buying into the whole modified shock collar nonsense and were ripping into him about... I personally think he fucked up and bought into the BS narrative on it. Dude, this is... Guys, don't cancel me. But like... Who cares? Who cares? Why do people care if it's a shock collar or not? It's obviously not made to be a shock collar. Like the collar that Hassan showed. First of all, there's no evidence that Kaya was ever shocked by the collar. There's absolutely no evidence of it. People are like, well, you don't understand. You see, Hassan puts his hand out of frame and then he gives a verbal command to Kaya and then she does it. So, like, that's him obviously abusing the dog, right? There's no evidence of it whatsoever. People just, like, assume that it's that. And then the second thing is Hassan's like, yeah, I have a collar that has, like, a vibrate function on it. Well, a lot of the shock collars you can buy online have a vibrate function on it. The collar he showed clearly does not have the capability to shock the dog. So you can say that, like, oh, he took it apart or whatever. But even if that's the case, there's absolutely no evidence that he ever shocked Kaya with it. Hassan is into dog training. He's always been into dog training, like even before he got Kaya. He would be upfront and honest about it if he shocked the dog. And honestly, guys, there's absolutely no difference between a dog shock and a dog vibration. They're effectively the same thing. In order to get the dog's attention, snap them out of whatever they're focused on. The only difference is that with a shock collar, there's more room to be abusive with it. You can crank it up too high or whatever and like cause the dog discomfort. Vibrations always also cause the dog discomfort. if the vibration's too high, or like your dog has anxiety or whatever. So it's all about like the correct use. And there's no evidence that Hassan has ever used the vibration collar other than what he said he uses it for, which is to get Kai's attention when she's like off in the wilderness or whatever, and he's like trying to get her to come back. It was just clickbait. I called one guy an idiot. Apparently I have a brigade of many alts. Yeah, I need to see how many different sock puppet accounts you have. Here we have a good faith person, which was the poster. I want to preface this comment by saying that on the whole, I like Anthony and have enjoyed my time watching DNW, but this feels like baby's first controversy to me. I get being sad about losing any number of followers, but in the grand scheme, 50 is not a big deal. Okay, who cares? Stepped in at like 10 minutes, he was reacting to Gazans returning to their homes. Everything was good until about 5 minutes later when some dickhead in the comments baited him into the same shit he's been on the past week almost. So I don't even understand like what they're mad at you about. I really don't even care. Honestly, guys, this is such a stupid hill to die on. I understand wanting to like defend Hassan and push back against the narrative that he's some kind of like psychotic abuser, but you guys have to realize all of the people making fun of Hassan aren't doing it because he shocks his dog, because he doesn't shock his dog, and they're not doing it because he shocks his dog. They're making fun of him because of the because of his politics. That's the short and sweet of it. People making fun of Hassan are the same people that don't like his politics. And the reason I know this is because in every single skit, animation, or streamer covering Hassan, they make fun of Hassan's politics. They're always like, and then here's Hassan. America sucks. America's going to hell. Fuck America. Fuck dictators. And then they do the zapping thing. It's all making fun of his politics. All of the streamers that aren't like making skits about it are all attacking Hassan because of his politics anyway. And then they're just like, this is another thing for them to latch onto. This isn't a legitimate campaign of like, oh my God, here's something that makes Hassan look bad. No, like, guys, relax. It's not like people are hating on Hassan because of this dog collar thing. I think people are upset I even covered it. Like, if I also agreed with Hassan hasn't shocked her, why would I even mention that it looks like a shock collar? Reminds me of the Canadian ostriches story. All of a sudden, some of the worst people are suddenly What is ostriches? What is that story? And they were going him hard in live chat because, well, parasocial white wine zombie mums. Ethan doesn't like. I love how Ethan's like. I love how Ethan Klein was like, I can't believe that Hassan has his dog lay in a bed, and then he's like running over his dog in his desk chair as he's backing up and shit. LSF should just say their name to We Hate Hassan. I mean, look, it's a good. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good attack vector on Hassan, right? It's like, oh, he abuses dogs. What do Americans hate the most? Someone who abuses animals. Kirsty Noem lost the vice presidency because of that. You had that whole story of the Palestinian dog, where a guy with his dog. Yeah, look at this. My name is Hamad Ashur from Gaza. A year ago, I shared the story of a kind, loyal dog who became my companion. What a lucky dog he turned out to be. Our story made headlines in both Arab and international magazines. More than 5 million people around the world read it. It was translated into 7 different languages. Not long after, I was contacted by an animal rights organization in Dublin, Ireland. They wanted to check on the dog's health. They asked for photos of the tent we lived in and guarded together. I sent the photos. What followed was overwhelming. So much sympathy, so much concern for the dog. They genuinely explored the ways to evacuate him from Gaza through partner organizations. They wanted him to have a better life, a cleaner place, a wider sky. But no one asked about me. I was the one living in the torn tent and a place not even suitable for dogs. So, like, this shit, it's like, yeah, there's a dog in Palestine. Oh my God. Did you know that Palestine has dogs too? People care a lot about dogs. This is a very obvious example of this, right? The guy's like, I'm living in a tent with a dog, and they're like, oh my god, is the dog doing okay? Like, of course, care for the dog, but the Palestinian, no one cares about. And it's kind of, you're seeing that this is a very effective way of attacking Hassan here, right? This clip went viral, and it's because, I mean, it doesn't even look like Hassan shocked the dog at all. But when people say that he shocked the dog, all of a sudden people will now like believe that he did. Oh, see, he reached off the screen. People don't know what shock collars actually do to animals. So they're like, oh, a shock collar, that must be in the movies when, like, you know, a stupid dog or like an ape or something touches an electrified fence, and then they scream and they jump back because the current's going through it too strongly. And people don't know that shit. But anyway, it is pretty effective. If you want to push back against it, I don't know, I mean, feel free to do that. I would say, not trying to be selfish, but I honestly think the most effective type of rhetoric to push back against it is that video that I compiled, which is essentially a bunch of different dog trainers using shock collars. And you see the reaction that those dogs have, and then compare it to the reaction that Kaya had. They're not the same thing whatsoever. So unless you think that Hassan like cranked up the electric levels and he's just doing this out of spite and he has not trained his dog at all, yeah, there's not really any good evidence, and I think that the evidence is pretty powerful in the opposite direction. Anyway, kind of ranting now. I don't think he actually shocked his dog, but I think it was a shock collar and he put tape over it. Yeah, I don't, if we're actually talking about what I actually think, I think either two things. I think Hassan bought a shock collar that has a vibration setting on it. I do think it was, so I think he either bought that and he basically changed it, took apart the shocking function, because if you're not going to use the shocking function, you don't need those two prongs sticking out. And then if you unscrew the prongs, there's still two metal studs sticking out. So I think Hassan took apart the entire thing, reconstituted it without that shocking function, and then I don't know if there's electrical tape or anything on it, but put that back together. Or he like custom bought one without the shocking function on it, and the only reason I say that is because like the screws are different. So I think he either bought the shocking function and took it apart and put it back together without the shocking capability, or he just like custom bought it, because I can't find anything that actually matches the collar. But either way, there's no evidence that he shocked the dog. Even if there were the prongs on there, he said that he only uses it for the vibration function. I don't see a reason to disbelieve that, because it's essentially the same thing as like the shock function. And that's kind of it. If you disagree with the idea of training a dog to be obedient to you to the point where you can take them off leash and they'll walk beside you, or to the point where you do have a vibration function on it to, I don't know, get their attention at the dog park when they're off leash, and you're like, all right, come back, and they're like not listening to you, and then that's fine. That was my take base. Yeah, I think we like 100% agree. Like we were texting a little bit, and yeah, but I think it's just because I play Elden Ring, so that's why people like my takes better. You got to get on that ring. You got to get on that ring. I just don't understand why he would DIY project it when he could simply buy another as a rich guy. I don't know. Probably he had that shock collar. He had that version of a shock collar before. You could buy the vibration function only one. Or yeah, you could buy that one. I just said I just said it looked like the shock collar, but he doesn't shock her, and he maybe mishandled the reveal. And boom. Yeah. I mean, the collar was probably given to him by his trainer. I'd imagine he works with a professional trainer. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that the trainer has collars that he like gives to the clients and works with them with the client, with that caller. Oh man. Now we're talking about this shit. There's so much stuff going on about it. Let's see, what do we have? H3 podcast. Are they talking about it more? Did Ethan shock himself? Oh yeah, Hassan caught. There's just like these new clips that are emerging. Is him just telling his dog to like lay down? Oh wait, Israel-Palestine ceasefire. I'm actually kind of curious about what he has to say about that. One Punch Man. Demon Hunters? All right, let's see.
It's from good.
Oh God, Hutch. Like, guys, are you serious? It's people like Hutch that are covering this. Like, it's really not a serious story at all. It's all of these guys that hate Hassan already that are trying to catch him on this shit.
Friends of the
like Hutch, we're taking Hutch seriously.
show, Hutch.
Absolute garbage. Did you compare this to the Japanese airport experience? Yeah, the Japanese airport experience is like everything works, everything is fast. Kaya, place.
Grabs the thing.
Get back there. What is this? Don't worry.
I mean that's 100% right.
Like, I love this. Oh my God, Hassan's hand went off camera. That's 100%.
Place.
This one's kind of hard because it's like she's not.
He sat down and then I said place, so it makes me feel in control.
Ooh.
Place.
Okay, good job. There was another clip where Ethan's like, "Oh, I heard the click of the remote control," and it was Austin chewing gum. Like, okay, his hand went under the screen when the dog moved there. Like, where's the evidence he's shocking her? I thought when he shocks her, she yelps with pain, right? So wouldn't that disprove the earlier clip?
Because she's been injured. So I haven't been like keeping up with her training, letting her kind of do her thing. And obviously with like a couple weeks, like a week and a half or 2 weeks of just like not keeping up with her training, inevitably she's going to start doing her own thing. Dogs need a tremendous amount of structure and rigidity in their lives. They actually appreciate and enjoy being, they just.
I think that's true to an extent. You know what I mean? Like, this dog is not happy sitting there for fucking 4 or 5 hours. You know, I think structure and routine is important for dogs, but.
Okay, Ethan, you are not the person I would go to for dog training. When your dogs just like your dogs aren't house trained. They're not potty trained at all. They shit and piss in your studio. You know, my house is so disgusting. I told a story and Child Protective Services were called because of how bad my dogs were trained. But I don't think Hassan's true. Or I don't think Hassan's right. I think he's just like partially right about this.
He's checking. There's a content
album, the Van Jones
hot.
Go down this rabbit hole.
The well,
tangents
bro.
and ration
Companies. I got him a lover. He stood on business, and honestly, I thought his take on it was extremely fair. It was level-headed. It was calm, analytical, right?
I don't care. I have not.
Just call me a sicko, but I want to see more clips of Hassan abusing his dog.
Okay.
Boom.
Once again, the only person that has like taken this.
Anytime he reaches off screen, he's up torturing her. Apparently, I know, but it's not consistent at all. Like, I was roasting Charlie Critical because he was saying that, oh, Hassan just he's like, oh guys, you're saying that Kaya wasn't used to the shock. Well, that must be because Hassan just started training her. So last week, Hassan started training Kaya. That was last week he started training Kaya when she let out the yelp, right? And she's not used to the shock collar. So he just started training her with the shock collar last week. And that's what happened. And I love Ethan Klein too. He's like, Hassan's friends have been silent on that. But they would know. They'd be the ones that know So we'll see what they have to say. And then they're like, he doesn't shock his dog. We've never seen him shock his dog. That's not something that happens. And he's like, they're defending Hassan. They're covering for him. All of his friends are liars.
Taking this up has never been around me and Kaya, ever. Just been around me when I mean,
I've been around you and Kaya. But this refrain is also so dumb and pathetic. Like, we all know that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Just in abuse, you know, it's common that people around you don't suspect it, right? It's obvious.
Bro, motherfucker, you're talking about him pulling out a big-ass shock remote and zapping his dog. What do you mean abuse is hidden? Abuse can hide in plain sight. If you see a man and his girlfriend looks uncomfortable, that could be abuse. You always have to stay ever vigilant about it so it doesn't sneak past you. Bro, you're talking about Hassan pulling out a giant yellow remote, twisting it up to maximum voltage, and then zapping his dog with it. What do you mean you haven't recognized that? I don't know if I can recognize abuse because it's such a subtle thing. That's not how it works. I wouldn't notice you pulling out a massive remote and shocking your dog to the point where she yelps.
Around me and Kaya, ever. Just been around me when
I've been around you and Kaya. But this refrain is also so dumb and pathetic. Like, we all know that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Just in abuse, you know, it's common that people around you don't suspect it, right? It's obviously doesn't matter if people have been around you and Kaya. And the fact that he keeps leaning on that excuse just, to me, shows his guilt, because it's just such a horrible excuse, right? You have to be totally deluded to even be convinced at all by that. But anyway, Charlie's afraid of getting on a plane, so invalid. Fuck.
Also, that's a weird dunk, because his best friend Cutie is also afraid of flying on planes.
Oh, is that right?
Shots fired.
Yeah, she famously does not fly.
What do you think about that?
It just keeps getting deeper and deeper.
He's killing it. You know what?
I mean, Charlie also said that Hassan just started training his dog, right?
This is what he.
I don't know. He made so much sense here. I'm starting to open up to.
Like, give me more clips of abuse. I just want to see more dog abuse. I'm gonna have to go to the dark web for this shit. All right, come on. Oh, here we go.
Say something so on the nose, ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he's really at the point where he's willing to say anything, right? Hassan says people are coming after him because, well, let's watch.
Ruthless as far as like how they attack people, and it's not even like sincerely because they think that this is real animal abuse or anything like that. I think it's just more so because people, like a lot of people that are just like actively coming after me, or in the inception point, came after because they were looking for anything that they could. It's been really funny seeing some people be like, yeah, this is how Muslims are.
Dude,
nobody's saying that.
Look, I'm not saying that he never got a comment like that from some random commenter or
a random comment somewhere. I don't know, but
I've been following this very closely. I haven't seen anybody.
Yeah.
At least like having a big tweet or
like big LSF post or something like
Twitter.
that.
Again, I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter.
I've definitely seen that shit in the comment sections of videos. I haven't seen any content creators do it, but then again, I'm not like watching right-wing content creators talking about this.
So I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know what goes on Twitter, but it's like, why are you even there?
But that's not. But and also like, that's not why people are criticizing it. Like this defense could be applicable to a lot of the stuff Hassan gets into. Because there is a group of people that hate him and are constantly monitoring for any little thing that can blow up. This is not one of them. Mm-hmm. There's a reason that tweet probably has like 50 million views now.
Bro,
and that's like number one post on live stream fails of all time. It's not because you're a Muslim, which by the way, it's just, I don't know, man. Here,
people are pretty fucking ruthless as far as like how they attack people, and it's not even like sincerely because they think that this is real animal abuse or anything like that. I think it's just more so because people, like a lot of people that are just like actively coming after me, or in the inception point, came after because they were looking for anything that they could. It's been really funny seeing some people be like, yeah, this is how Muslims are. This is, of course, Muslim.
I think some really shitty racist people said that, but I really don't think that's not a criticism that's like in the top 100 reasons I've heard. And then the next day, by the way, he posted this.
Oh fuck! I died. Deposit. Hassan's like, yeah, it's been funny seeing some racist stuff about me, Ethan Klein. I don't think that's like something that really you should be focused. I don't think the racism you experience should be something you focus on and talk about on your stream. Meanwhile, someone called me a Zionist. Those anti-Semitic pieces of shit. I can't believe that they do this. Like, what are we doing here now? Hassan says he experiences racism online, and you're like, yeah, but like, dude, really? Why are you talking about the racism? One comment that Hassan made that it's racist. Let's ignore all of the other times Hassan's addressed the actual controversy and been like, yeah, I can understand why people are upset about this clip. Like, let's ignore all of the other times that he's actually talked about this shit to the point where he's made a video about it, trying to address it in good faith. But the one time Hassan also talks about the racist criticisms he's experienced, Ethan clips it and is like, dude, get over it. God damn, Ethan.
She has no idea she's been the most famous dog on the internet for the past 2 days because of a coordinated far-right pro-Israel slander campaign. It's like, bro,
nuts.
Come on.
Nuts.
Oh boy.
Absolutely nuts.
Nuts.
Are we serious?
Coordinated slander campaign?
Coordinated.
Are we being for real right now, bro? It's the pro-Israel lobby that force you to electrocute your dog. I told you Kaya was Mossad. I meant it. She's been planning this since day one. He goes, oh, I magically got gifted this dog from Craigslist. The Mossad are crazy, dude. They've been planning that shit.
Wait. Oh, shit. Wait.
Yep. Think about it.
They put the world's most expensive dog breed.
Yep.
For free on Craigslist.
Yep.
Target it towards him. He sees it. Gets the dog. The dog has been pre-trained to be terribly behaved, and so
this is good.
Feels
this is good
the
content.
need to get the shock collar,
right?
To counteract
This
her
is
bad
so
programming.
good.
Yep. And then the dog exaggerated when she gets electrocuted too.
Right.
It's like, oh,
Patsy.
Mossad.
Plus the whole dog number 7. I mean, come
October
on, you
7th,
guys.
That's crazy.
You guys.
It is so wild that happened October 7th. It really is such a weird coincidence. It's October 7th. Yeah, people are dubbing it that. Yeah.
Shit. Of course, this pro-Palestine piece of shit would say something like this, and it's like, all right, man, what are you gonna fucking do?
Fuck.
It's not because you're pro-Palestine.
Wait. Shit, I wasn't even showing you guys that entire boss fight.
That people are angry at you. It's
wait.
so pathetic,
Guys.
dude.
Zach, put the conspiracy music back on.
Okay, this is really fucking stupid. Do we have more abusive clips of Hassan?
Crowd, this conversation, this topic.
I think part of the problem that's making it so bad, though, is that he keeps lying about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It keeps making it worse.
That's.
And oh wait, is this live?
No, it's a VOD, but this is what he has, this channel where he just has all these ferrets chilling.
They have cool ass tubes they can run through.
Look how fucking cute they are, dude.
Something.
What are we doing? Okay. Back to I'm like, oh wow, well that was a big enough segment, right? An hour to an hour 15, so 75 minutes. Okay, another segment. Then it goes back to Hassan for the end of the show. Jesus Christ, dude. And Ethan really has a crush on this guy. Like I saw a skit that someone made where, oh, here we go. Oh, this guy. I saw this guy's video. This guy's so weird. No, I saw a skit that someone made where they're like impersonating Hassan and they're ranting about Ethan Klein. It's like, you are so obviously an Ethan Klein viewer if you're making a Hassan skit where he's ranting about Ethan Klein, because they love, like, these guys love to imagine that Ethan lives rent-free in Hassan's head and he's talking about Ethan 24/7, but it's the exact opposite. Like, I'm not gonna lie, man. My channel is heavily dedicated to covering this podcast, and I don't even like thinking about Ethan. Like, I don't think about this guy. The only time I used to listen to his podcast to see what insane shit he'd say about Israel, but now I don't. It's boring. It's just boring. It's boring and it's sad, and it feels like I'm wasting my time when I listen to this. It's not entertaining. It's not humorous. It's not even important or influential in media and like the online ecosystem anymore. It's just sad, and it feels like a waste of time. I'm covering it here because I think Ethan's kind of along with the zeitgeist of the internet targeting Hassan. It's kind of like a fun new story to talk about, but goddamn, bro. It really is sad what this show has become.
Bye. That's Hassan every time a new clip shows up on the internet.
You're saying that this is from Christmas of last year?
Yeah, they're putting up a Christmas tree.
Wow.
So it's been almost a year he's had this thing.
Go to the camera, huh?
No.
Think about going outside. Last but not least, thank you all.
Wait, oh, this is after.
For joining
I don't know
us
why
on
they
this.
kept it so long.
Wide shot.
Yeah, I don't think there's a reason.
Boom.
Now he does nothing but move it out of frame.
No.
Hi, Cap.
Whoops.
He's
Nice.
such a liar. Wow. What a Weasley little liar.
Oh, shit. I actually want to watch this, but got bigger fish to fry right now. So what happened?
He's such a liar. Wow.
What did he do? He's eating
Nothing
a donut?
but move it out of frame.
No.
Hi, Cap.
Whoops.
He's
Nice.
such a liar. Wow. What a Weasley little liar.
4K, they say. You know, the kids say 4K, they say. 18K, 16K, they say. You ready for 16K, Dan?
I have been caught in 4K.
As long as it's not 3Ks.
So as long as it's not 3Ks, send all the Ks
You
you
know we don't
want.
fuck with 3Ks.
All right, I'm dead. What was this? They saw Hassan move.
Shows up on the internet.
You're saying that this is from Christmas of last year?
Yeah, they're putting up a Christmas tree.
Wow.
Anti-Semitic putting up a Christmas tree.
So it's been almost a year he's had this thing.
Go to the camera, huh? No. Think about going outside. Last but not least, thank you all.
Wait, oh, this was after.
For joining
I don't know
us
why
on
they
this.
kept it so long.
Wide shot.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm confused. What was supposed to have happened?
there's a reason.
Boom.
Now he does nothing but move it out of frame.
No.
Hi, Cap.
Whoops.
He's
Nice.
such a liar. Wow.
But he did say it was oh, sorry guys. Maybe I should have done this full screen. So I know this is like great television to
But
watch
move
this
it out of
clip
frame.
5 minutes in a row. So there's this thing here and he moves it. But he does say that he has a remote collar for the dog. So first of all, like even if this is for the dog, which we have no evidence of, he said he has a remote collar for her. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Whoops.
He's
Nice.
such a liar. Wow.
Okay. Like he brought the dog into the studio. I don't know why they're not talking about that. Okay, what are we on now? One Punch Man. Okay, I want to see what he has to say about the Israel and Palestine ceasefire.
Speaking of Israel, though, actually, we should acknowledge the great news that after 2 years, there is finally a ceasefire in place that seems to have a lot of promise. And we're all just so hopeful that for peace to come to the region, for this all to stop, for the Palestinian people to rebuild, to be able to live, you know, to mourn the tens of thousands of children and others that have died, you know, and all the hostages were released, all the living hostages were released, 20 of them. It was last night, right? Night in our
yes,
early
our time
morning.
last night.
It was an emotional. The whole country's just been kind of like
Literally, the
On
whole
edge.
country
Oh,
was
yeah.
out yesterday. I was watching, and it was just like they couldn't sleep. They were
Yeah.
all just out waiting for them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I know he's saying the collar was on the... Well, he wasn't saying the collar was on the table. He's saying that the remote for the collar was on the table. And even if he moved it out of frame, so what? Hassan said that he has a remote collar for the dog. So I don't really understand what that's proving. Like, basically, Ethan's not actually trying to prove anything. He's just being like, oh yeah, let's, like, he's using this as an excuse to watch more Hassan clips. That's what he's doing. So anyway, the entire country was staying up late last
this is
night.
a huge day.
I think it's going to be like a national holiday.
It should be.
Because I remember when I was living in Israel when Gilad Shalit was freed.
Yeah.
And that was one guy.
Right.
Right. And without all the context of this insanity that's been, thank you so much. So we've got the, yeah, and 2,000 Palestinian prisoners were released. So we did this massive exchange. There's a ceasefire in place, and Trump is there yucking it up.
Trump is loving
He's
it.
getting laughed, you know. But I really hope, just pray that this is going to hold, and that Gaza is able to rebuild peacefully into like a sustained peace and mutual interest in fucking having a peaceful future, you know.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit, my first cutscene for this. Okay, so he cuts off his own arm. Pretty metal. Okay. Truest of dragons. I don't know if that dragon is the truest of dragons. Lend me thy strength. Pulls the dragon's head off. This will be cool.
And I do want to acknowledge just the unbelievable toll, the loss that the people in Gaza have suffered. Literally.
Oh, you do want to acknowledge that? Thank you, Ethan, for acknowledging the unbelievable
tens
toll.
of thousands of children killed, and may they never be forgotten. The amount of pain and suffering, the amount of loss that the people in Gaza have experienced is unlike anything almost anybody alive could even imagine or empathize with. It's just the scale of loss is just Goliath, and so wishing whatever peace and moving on to them, and hopefully, I think the best situation would be like a coalition of interested countries, Qatar, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. I don't know if they're involved. I don't know whoever, but like, were they ensuring that there's a peaceful transfer of power and that the violent factions of Hamas are removed, and that a ton of money is going to flow in to rebuild, you know what I mean? To rebuild infrastructure, rebuild houses, to invest in the people, and that somehow leads to a brighter future. But all we can do is hope. But one thing I can say is that I am so fucking glad, at least for now.
Oh no.
That there seems to be somewhat
Let's
of a
die.
fruitful ceasefire.
Bro, I can't believe I killed this guy while listening to Ethan Klein just like moan about how he doesn't want the Palestinians to have self-determination. The only thing that we can do is hope that, you know, not Palestinians aren't in charge anymore, and actually we have an international Arab. They can be Arabs, I guess. We can have them be in control of Gaza, but they need to be peaceful, right? So can't have them in charge anymore.
Even though there's some uncertainty in regards to like, there's been a lot of like fighting in Gaza amongst Hamas factions and like clan factions. Hamas has been doing like mass executions of supposed Israeli collaborators.
Bro, just keep in mind that Israel literally paid money to different gangs within Hamas, or not within Hamas, within Gaza, to steal aid from Palestinians and to just like kill people. Like Israel paid these gangs money, these criminals, these people who were actually serving prison sentences and then were released from prison so they wouldn't get killed by Israeli bombs. Israel paid the money and is like, hey, go raid these aid trucks that are getting through because we don't want Palestinians to get any food. Oh, man.
Which has caused a lot of fighting amongst Hamas and other clans there. And there's also different factions. There's like a militant, kind of like jihadist faction in Hamas. And then there's like a more pragmatic, like
15,000 runes from that shit. Bro, I'm so bad at this game. I literally just spammed like my my sorcerer staff to try to kill him.
Governance faction in Hamas, because Hamas, they were the whole game in Gaza, right? That was the government. They were in charge of everything. So anyone who wanted to help, anyone who wanted to serve the people had to affiliate with Hamas one way or the other. So there's a lot of variety, or a lot of, what's the word?
Diversity?
There's just a huge swath of different types of people that are involved. And just hoping that the peaceful, pragmatic...
Guys, is there any way I can get more memory slots of spells? Is that possible in this game? Because I want to try out different stuff. Okay. Every Palestinian is Hamas.
Ones are the ones that prevail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it. All we can do is pray and just be happy, relieved in the moment that there's been some reprieve for now. Mm-hmm. And I personally, I've stated this opinion, and I believe this opinion, that if the hostages were ever released to Israel, that the war would stop, that they would stop the aggression. So it's on them. As far as I'm concerned, they got the hostages back. It's on them now to show, right, that the willingness for peace, right, and the willingness to want to rebuild Gaza in a way that is a sustainable and a prosperous future for everybody. So I'm very much looking to the government of Israel to not fuck this up with the ceasefire. And we'll see. Nothing else really to do but just see what happens, right? There is, on a lighter note, Trump has been yucking it up, as I said. He's really living his best life out there.
We talked a couple weeks ago.
I was watching this morning. He was doing shtick. He's literally he's doing like crowd work with the reporters.
I mean, he does all the time. Let's see how. So did you see this specific clip?
I don't know, because I saw a lot of clips from this scene. But he's on Air Force One.
Yep.
First of all, I thought it was so funny that when everybody was waiting for the hostages to release, everybody was at the hostage square.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the news, they said, Trump just let us know, Trump's team let us know that he's going to make his airplane fly over the hostage square so everybody can look up to him and wave.
Oh my God. All right.
But you know that was probably epic. Air Force One, low flight. Over.
Yeah, it was Air Force One.
Really low. I mean, that would.
Yes, they did a low thing.
America, grande, ultra best.
What? Grande. You know what I like about him? He's like peeking around the corner, like he's just like he's about to go back at any second.
Yeah. Everything's computer.
So anyway, here's Trump taking his victory lap.
You had talked a couple weeks ago. You were doing an interview and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound.
Oh my God! Wait, guys, this is incredible stuff.
A rare moment of honesty.
The hell is?
What an incredible moment!
Yeah, you're getting up there, that's for sure.
Nothing's getting me up there, folks. Did you tell them about the hummus place?
I did. I think somebody, I don't know who's taking charge.
Okay.
The hummus.
Oh, she's like digging her own grave. She's ordering her own birthday lunch.
She brought her own
Not
cookies
exactly.
too.
Yeah, she brought cookies.
Not
Very
really.
good.
She has the company card and.
Okay, so you don't have anything to say? You're just like, well, I hope the Palestinian people can rebuild, and I hope that terrorists won't be in charge of them anymore. Okay, man. Now let's laugh at Trump and then talk about what we're going to order for lunch. Hamas hands over 2 more bodies, hostages to Red Cross. Pro-Palestinian demonstrations in Barcelona. Trump advisor says U.S. and Israel to set up safe zone for Gaza civilians who fear Hamas. They're working to establish safe zones in areas controlled by Israeli troops in Gaza for civilians fearing Hamas retribution. I mean, what? Oh, so Israel's now going to defend parts of Gaza against Hamas. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So we're just going to have like soldiers defending parts of Gaza against the you're going to give it up? You're going to give these parts back to Palestine when they actually have a like a non-Hamas leadership, like the technocratic government takes over? You're just going to give these parts back up? These safe zones that Israel set up? Like, this is colonization, man. Oh yeah, we're going to just create safe zones where the current government doesn't have access to and has no jurisdiction in. Israeli forces also opened fire on Palestinian civilians in the Shujaia neighborhood of Gaza City on Tuesday, killing 5. Why? Gaza ceasefire tested as Israeli forces kill 5 Palestinians. At least 5 Palestinians have been killed in an Israeli attack in Gaza City. Killed 5 people. They said it opened fire to remove a threat posed by people who approached its forces in northern Gaza. Why? I thought the IDF was not even supposed to be in Gaza City. Where's Gaza City? Where's Gaza City? I don't even know where Gaza City is in this map. They remain in the following Palestinian neighborhoods: Bet Lahia, Bet Hanun, parts of Gaza City's Shujaia. Okay, so I guess they are in parts of Gaza City. Said soldiers fired against suspects who were crossing the yellow line, the line into which Israel's military pulled back under the ceasefire deal. Oh, so you can't even cross that line without being killed, I guess? All right, that's cool. This looks like a great pathway towards peace. You still have the IDF literally just dividing the city in half and then killing people if they cross the line. It's a city, and I guess you just can't cross the line or you're going to be killed. Okay. Defending collaborators. Well, yeah, they're defending collaborators, obviously. Okay, so since we're talking about this, we'll go back to what we started on. Zohran Mamdani's Fox News interview.
Hamas says that it can't hand over any more bodies without special equipment to recover them. Israel says one of the 4 bodies returned so far does not match any of the hostages who died. Zohran Mamdani is leading the race for mayor in New York City, the biggest city in the country and the capitalist center of the world. The 33-year-old is proposing free childcare, free buses, freezing rent, and city-run grocery stores. He has claimed that we should not really have billionaires in this city, and he has vowed to make New York the strongest sanctuary city in the country.
Should not really have billionaires. I don't think we should have billionaires.
His views on hot topics like the NYPD and Israel have been a constant source of controversy, but he is ahead by 13 points right now in this race. I sat down with him on the eve of tomorrow night's big mayoral debate in New York City. Here's part 1 of our exclusive interview. Thank you very much for being here. Candidate for mayor of New York City, you're up by 13 points. It looks like you've got the wind at your back. You've got a big debate coming up tomorrow night with the other candidates, Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa. Obviously, New York City policy is front and center, but I would imagine that some of the big headlines recently are going to come up tomorrow night as well. So I want to get to all the policy issues in New York, but I wanted to ask you this first. If you are asked tomorrow night, if you give credit to President Trump for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and the return of the 20 living hostages, would you raise your hand?
You know, first I want to say it's a real pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me. And it's an honor to have this opportunity to speak to so many New Yorkers and Americans across the country. And when it comes to the ceasefire, I am thankful, and I have hope that it will actually endure and that it will be lasting. And I continue to have concerns because I've seen reports still, just this in the last few days, that 5 Palestinians were killed by the Israeli military.
Yep.
And that's what gives me pause about issuing any kind.
Well, let's just be honest. There's no real plan for peace. Like they say that, oh yeah, this is a ceasefire, and this is like the war is over now, right? But there's no plan for peace. This was a hostage deal. This was a pause in fighting and a hostage deal. That's what it was. There is no plan for peace.
Of praise or celebration at a moment.
Yeah, 5 people have died
if you
already.
give credit to President Trump for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and the return of the 20 living hostages, would you raise your hand?
You know, first I want to say it's a real pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me. And it's an honor to have this opportunity to speak to so many New Yorkers and Americans across the country. And when it comes to the ceasefire, I am thankful, and I have hope that it will actually endure and that it will be lasting. And I continue to have concerns because I've seen reports still, just this in the last few days, that 5 Palestinians were killed by the Israeli military. And that's what gives me pause about issuing any kind of praise or celebration at a moment when it is still so in its infancy. And what I will tell you is that in that same moment, it is also one that requires a focus on ensuring that hope, that belief in a better future is one that is emblematic in our policies right here in New York City as well. And that's what we're hoping to lead with.
So would you give President Trump credit or not, to any extent? Credit or not?
I think it's too early to do so.
Too early to say.
But if it proves to be something that is lasting, something that is durable, then I think that's where you give credit.
So you've denounced Israel and the United States for the response to the slaughter on October the 7th. In fact, at times you've called it a lasting stain, the response, and at times you have left October 7th out of your statements completely around this issue. Right now, you just talked about Israelis killing some Palestinians, but Hamas is killing Palestinians within Gaza, and they have not returned the bodies that they promised to return, including 2.
Well, Hamas has now returned the bodies that they promised to return. Oh, so now you care about Palestinians being... So they care when Palestinians kill Palestinians, but when Israelis kill Palestinians, then that's justified due to, Israel is justified in killing civilians because they're trying to achieve military objectives, right? They're trying to defend themselves. But if Hamas kills Palestinians, then that's beyond the pale. And Hamas still hasn't returned the bodies of hostages. Is this going to be the next thing? We need to kill all of the Palestinians because they haven't returned the corpses of the Israeli hostages that Israel bombed.
Americans, Itai Chen and Omer Nutra, whose families we have interviewed over these months. So what is your response to what Hamas is doing now?
I think those are bodies and remains that should absolutely be returned, and I think that I have no issue.
Wait, what the fuck did she... Hamas hasn't returned the corpses, so what's your response to them not delivering the bodies back? They should. Okay, what's your response to them killing dissidents? Well, I'm against capital punishment, but if these people were criminals, they should be put in prison. Unfortunately, Israel bombed all of the prisons, so there are no prisons to put them in.
With critiquing Hamas or the Israeli government, because my critiques all come from a place of universal human rights. And my focus, however, is right here in New York City and transforming the most expensive city in America into one that's affordable for each and every New Yorker.
But, okay, and I want to get to that, absolutely. But do you believe that Hamas should lay down their weapons?
Oh, okay, but like, and we're gonna get to your policies for New York, but like, but Hamas, you're brown, Hamas, brown skin, Hamas. Well, New York, yes, but Hamas, Hamas.
Weapons and leave
It's like it's like a verbal tick with these people.
The leadership in Gaza.
I believe in the most expensive city in America into one that's affordable for each and every New Yorker.
But, okay, and I want to get to that, absolutely. But do you believe that Hamas should lay down their weapons and leave the leadership in Gaza?
I believe that any future here in New York City is one that we have to make sure that's affordable for all. And as it pertains to Israel and Palestine, that we have to ensure that there is peace And that is the future that we have to fight for.
But you won't say that Hamas should lay down their arms and give up leadership in Gaza.
I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety and the fact that anything has to abide by international law. And that applies to Hamas, that applies to the Israeli military, applies to anyone you could ask me about.
Okay.
Do you realize how anti-Semitic it is, Zohran, to hold Israel to the same standards you hold Hamas to? That's insanely anti-Semitic. That's like saying that America should be held to the same standards as like Haiti. That's crazy, bro. That's actually crazy. I can't believe Zohran would be this full of Jew hatred to hold Palestinians to the same standards that we hold Israel to. That's man, I don't know, man. That's kind of too far.
One last thought on that. You have said that you would arrest Netanyahu if he came to the United States. You've been very outspoken in your criticism of him. Do you stand by that? You would arrest him if he came here, if you were mayor?
I've said that this is a city that believes in international law, and this is a city that wants to uplift and uphold those beliefs. The Prime Minister...
The United States doesn't stand by the International Criminal Court.
It hasn't signed the treaty for the International Criminal Court. The International Criminal Court, however, has issued a warrant for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu.
But what grounds in the United States could you arrest him on?
As it has for Vladimir Putin. I've said that I believe that we should uphold arrest warrants by the International Criminal Court, and that we should do so only in abiding with all of the laws in front of us. I'm not going to make a new law to ensure that we can actually do this.
Do you think that Commissioner Tisch would allow you to arrest Netanyahu in New York City?
I've appreciated Commissioner Tisch's leadership of the NYPD, and I think that she's done a good job at lowering crime across the city.
But do you think that she would go along with arresting Netanyahu in New York?
I can tell you that I'm going to exhaust every legal option in front of me, not to make new laws to do so.
All right, so we got that business at the top of the interview. Coming up is part 2.
Where's part 2? Where's part 2? That was just about Hamas. Where is part 2? What is this? This isn't part 2. I mean, obviously this is like absolutely crazy. Okay, but like, do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? Where is part 2? This is pissing me off. Okay, here we go. 19 minutes long. And I hate the Fox News player. Fox News player is so bad.
Your life. So I'm curious, and President Trump said that you never worked a day in your life. You worked as an assemblyman, and you've had other positions in the government. But what qualifies you from your life experience to run the largest city in the country?
You know, I want to take this moment because you spoke about President Trump, and he may be watching right now, and I just want to speak directly to the president, which is that I will not be a mayor like Mayor Adams who will call you to figure out how to stay out of jail. I won't be a disgraced governor like Andrew Cuomo who will call you.
What makes you qualified to leave New York? Well, I'm not going to call Donald Trump to ask him how I should stay out of jail. Oofda.
To ask how to win this election. I can do those things on my own. I will, however, be a mayor who's ready to speak at any time to lower the cost of living. That's the way that I'm going to lead this city. That's the partnership I want to build, not only with Washington, D.C., but anyone across this country. I think it's important because too often the focus on the needs of working class Americans, working class New Yorkers are put to the side as we talk more and more about the very kinds of corrupt politicians like Andrew Cuomo that delivered us into this kind of crisis.
So the question I asked you was what specifically in your background gives you the confidence that you can run a $115 billion budget and run this city specifically from your personal experience and your background?
I've been a state assembly member here in New York City. I've represented 130,000 people in Queens. And in the time that I've done so, I've not only delivered more than $100 million in increased bus and subway service, I've also secured $500 million in debt relief for working class taxi drivers. President Trump knows this. New Yorkers know this across the 5 boroughs. Taxis, as we're looking at them right here, are such a part of what we love about this city. And yet those same drivers were sold a lie about a ticket to the middle class if they bought a medallion. I stood with those drivers. I organized with those drivers. I went on a 15-day hunger strike with those drivers. And we secured $500 million in debt relief that allows those drivers to do more than just think about struggle.
How many employees would you be overseeing in the New York City government?
More than 300,000.
That's a lot of people. But thank you for answering the question. I know that you want to stimulate small business in the city, and we all...
What makes you qualified to lead New York? Well, I had experience on the state level working as an assemblyman, and I think we got a lot of good stuff done. Okay, but like you weren't in charge of as many employees as you will be in New York as the mayor of New York, right? Like, no. Gotta mark that. Gotta mark that in the not qualified box.
All walk around the city that we love, and we see a lot of empty storefronts. So give me your plan on how you would do that.
You know, I've spoken to a lot of New Yorkers for whom their aspiration, their dream is in that small business. And I've told them that we are going to make it easier to not only open it, but keep it open. We're going to cut fines and fees by 50%. Because as you said, we have a city government that has a $116 billion budget. It's not funded by charging a restaurant $25 a year for the right to sell a frozen dessert. We're going to streamline the regulations and rules that these small businesses have to adhere to. Because today, if you want to open up a barbershop, you have to fill out 24 forms, go to 7 agencies, 12 in-person activities. And furthermore, we're going to have a mom and pop czar, someone that'll help these businesses navigate through this. Because while we are holding these kinds of businesses to these kinds of rules, we're letting the most profitable corporations walk all over us here in New York City. And it's part of the problem where so many New Yorkers look around at the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the history of the world and asking themselves, there's all this money, why can't I afford $2.90 to even ride the bus?
So let me just quick question on that, and I want to get to public safety because it's obviously another big issue for New Yorkers. So a lot of individuals in this city pay more than 50% of their income in taxes. When you talk about a fair share, how much more than what is the fair share? What's the number?
I've said that we should increase personal income taxes by 2%.
Is fair.
And my point is this:
give up more than half of your income. That's
if you're making $1 million in New York City or more than that, you can afford to pay 2% more. And the reasons you can afford to do so is because that money will be used to better your quality of life as well.
Yeah.
Because when I speak to the wealthiest New Yorkers, I hear.
I mean, this is an argument that is so effective. You hear guys like Joe Rogan who are like, I'm in favor of social safety networks. I just don't like taxes because they're not going to go towards actually making life better. And Zohran is like, I'm going to raise your taxes, but there's going to be a direct correlation between the increase in taxes and an increase in social services. Like, I think this is a really effective rhetorical argument. We're going to make millionaires, people that make millions of dollars, pay a little bit more, but that money's directly going to go back into the city to make everyday life easier, to make everyday life better for people that live in New York City. So yeah, her argument is going to be, well, I don't think 2% is going to do that much. Look, what is her argument going to be? Well, I think that's kind of ridiculous, asking people to pay more than 50% of their income. And of course, it's like not 50% of their income. It's 50% or 52% at like the highest tax bracket, right? But so she's going to be lying about that. But yeah, well, what is her response going? What is the Fox News response to this?
Concerns about the cleanliness of the city, the quality of life in the city, questions of public safety. This money is the money that will be used to deliver on those things so that we can ensure that we have a return on investment for all of the money that we are raising and spending right here across the 5 boroughs.
I want to talk to you about public safety and your relationship with police. So just in terms of public safety, I want to go to an example first, because I hear from people that they don't feel safe walking home at night. There's drug addicts on the street, you know, right around the corner here. You can walk around the corner and see people shooting up. A lot of garbage on the streets right now. The subway is something that people are really concerned about. Last week, 64-year-old Nicola Tanzi, who was a church leader, a pillar in his community, was brutally beaten to death. I tried to watch this video in preparation. It's very hard to watch in a subway station in Brooklyn. 25-year-old David Mazaregos had a 20-inch sword. He's the suspect in this case. He was out. They lowered his bail so that he could get out. He was already waiting a trial for attacking someone in Chelsea. 33 past arrests. You were in favor of bail reform. Does that make you want to change your mind or think twice about reversing that?
This is a horrific incident, and
does what the fuck? Does an old lady getting beaten to death with a sword make you change your mind about bail reform? But what the fuck is that question? Did you know that someone just got fucking stabbed? They got like 13th century they got 13th century fatality last week in New York City, and I actually watched it happen. Going above and beyond in your journalism there. I watched 12 beheadings that took place on the streets of New York City in order to interview you about crime. Do you think that people should still have easier access to getting bail?
It's the same video that I saw, and it's one that horrifies New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and it's completely unacceptable. And what it makes me think about is the necessity of providing public safety in our New York City subway system and across the 5 boroughs, and also how do we end the revolving door? Because when you look further into the case of whether this individual or so many individuals, especially those suffering from mental health issues, what we find is so often the only mental health system that we have that's functioning in this city is Rikers Island. 40% of the incarcerated population there are suffering from serious mental illness.
Why was he on the street is the question. Why was he on the street?
Because we have a broken system.
They lowered his bail. He had a bail he couldn't pay. Then they lowered the bail, and then he could pay it. This is, imagine if you're this family. I mean, and they look at 33 prior arrests, and
yeah, that's the other thing. This really has nothing to do with bail and everything to do with the amount of prior arrests he has. This is what Zohran's talking about when he's like, we need to end the broken door policy. When you arrest people that clearly have mental health conditions, but their crimes aren't serious enough to send them to prison for life, like the police don't want these people that need help to be in their jails. They don't want them to just rot in jail, and so they work with judges to get their bails lowered. And that's not a good system. That's not good for the police. It's not good for the people that need help, that are going out, that are leaving jail and then continuing to do crimes. Like, you don't get 33 arrests because you're like a normal person and you're just being you don't get 33 arrests because you're being like racially profiled or something. Like, you need help if you're in the institution that often. You need serious help. And like, lowering bail is good for everyday people. That's not going to affect these people that are arrested 33 times and need to get actual institutional help, other than just going in and out of jail like every few months or so.
Why? Why was this man on the street? What would stop him in your administration from being on the street?
Because what we would do is actually address the systemic problems that would ensure that someone who goes through the system this many times is actually, his issues are addressed, the services are provided. Right now, all we have is going in and out, especially when it comes to mental health. I'll give you an example.
Where would he be in your world? Where would he be? In a mental institution?
He would actually be getting services from the first time that he was arrested, as opposed to having to go through them 33 times. If you look at the New York Times, they did an investigation on 1,000 different incidents of violent crime in the city tied to mental health episodes.
Yeah.
They found that so many of those same New Yorkers were failed by the interactions they had with the city when they went for help, for mental health assistance. And that failure is a blight, it is a stain on our city, and it's a failure that I'm looking to.
Did I miss it? Like, did she just gloss past the idea that he wanted to raise taxes by 2%? She just didn't have a response to that at all? She's just like, oh, interesting. You wanted over 50%? And he's like, yeah, but it's all going to go back into the city. She's like, okay, well, let's talk about police safety now.
Fixed by actually transforming this with the only comprehensive plan for public safety of any of the candidates. Because what we are going to do is put out a plan and a proposal that we have shared with New Yorkers to create the Department of Community Safety that would bring together all of these pre-existing silos that address mental health crisis, that address homelessness into one department, provide it with the funding necessary, and actually address this crisis.
Where do these people go, though, is my question. Are you going to put them in a mental institution so they can be taken care of? Or are you going to leave them at home on medication? What's the plan?
There's a plan right now that allows for involuntary confinement, which I think should be a last resort, because of the fact that when you look at the actual results, this is something that so often doesn't actually have what has been spoken about. But what we have today that actually works for New Yorkers with serious mental illness, there are things like Fountain House. This is a clubhouse model, peer-led rehabilitative treatment for New Yorkers with serious mental illness. It costs $4,000 to have someone in Fountain House for a year. That's the cost of being on Rikers for 3 days. And what we see, however, is that those services, they increase employment by 50%, they reduce hospitalization by up to 45%, and they actually reduce the cost of healthcare as well for those same New Yorkers. This is what we're looking at.
Bro, like, It's one thing to be sitting here and coming up talking about theoretical solutions, right? While I'm just at home on my desk gaming. It's another thing. The guy is in a hostile media environment, being grilled by this person, and he has real solutions. And not only does he have real solutions, but he has the ability to deliver them in such a simple, informative, and charismatic way that he lets people know what his intentions are. He lets people know his solutions, and then is able to repeat those solutions. Just like, keep in mind, Kamala Harris couldn't go on Dr. Mike's podcast because he wanted to talk with her about healthcare, and she couldn't hack it. She yelled at her aides because she didn't want to do a podcast with Dr. Mike, a fucking liberal ass YouTuber, without like hours of preparation beforehand, without scripted questions for her to easily respond to. She couldn't fucking chew the shit with a fucking liberal ass YouTube podcaster. And Zohran's going on Fox News and making it look like a cakewalk, dude. He's making it look like he's just like chatting it up with a friend. He's actually disarming this Fox News reporter.
This is why we say that Rikers is broken, the system is broken.
You can just see people who are suffering up and down 8th Avenue, just as one example. And I hope we'll have a chance to talk more about that next time. But I don't want you to leave without me asking you about your relationship with the police, because obviously this is a big issue. You said in the past, I almost don't need to go through it, it's been said many times, but that you called the police force racist, said they were a major threat to public safety, called them wicked and corrupt. And now the report that you apologized to 24 members of the NYPD. What did you say to them?
I apologized for the language that I used, and I spoke to them about the fact that I want to work with them to deliver public safety. Because what we're seeing in the city right now is we're asking officers to do nearly everything we can think of. We used to ask officers to focus on serious crimes. Now we're asking them to focus also on the mental health crisis, to focus also on homelessness. In 1 year alone, the NYPD receives 200,000 mental health calls. In 1 year.
Yeah, and you know what they told me? That 1 out of 3 of those, the person they're very, very dangerous interactions. You're going to send a social worker in there?
You can always have a police officer actually come to address that. But look, you're saying 1 out of 3. 2 out of 3 times, if you don't need the police and you're sending them to do that, then why aren't you sending them to respond to shootings?
Also, just keep in mind, the police make interactions dangerous. Like, I don't know what statistic she's referring to, but oh shit, am I getting invaded? I don't know what statistic she's exactly referring to, but when you have a group of people that are trained to treat everyone like they're a hostile enemy that they need to defeat, yeah, these interactions are going to be dangerous regardless of, holy shit, I just died so quickly. They're going to be dangerous regardless of how intent or how violent the person originally was. Like, police are trained to escalate situations.
Shootings and murders. 5-6 years ago, the response time for officers was closer to 10 minutes. Now it's closer to 16 minutes. New Yorkers deserve a police department that is asked to do the things that it can possibly do, not one that covers the failures of every break in the social safety net.
So police officers that I spoke to, they don't want a behind closed doors apology. They want a broad public apology for the things that you suggested about them. Will you do that right now?
Absolutely. I'll apologize to police officers right here, because this is the apology that I've been sharing with many rank and file officers. And I apologize because of the fact that I'm looking to work with these officers, and I know that these officers, these men and women who serve in the NYPD, they put their lives on the line every single day. And I will be a mayor that
What changed your mind about it?
You know, I moved to the city when I was 7 years old. I grew up here. And
they actually have nothing on this man. They're like, oh, you want to raise taxes, you crazy bastard? What do you want to raise them to? I want to raise it by 2%. Oh, okay. Well, you hate the police? What's your issue? Well, I think that they're overworked, and we have different needs. We have needs that they're not trained in addressing, and it's actually making their regular work harder. Well, do you want to apologize? I already did. Okay, well, why did you only apologize to a few people in person? They want a broad apology. Okay, sure, I'll do that right now. Well, Hamas?
Two of the things that I thought often about was safety and justice. And growing up here, learning about the case of the exonerated five, learning about Sean Bell, learning about Eric Garner, learning about Michael Brown, and then in 2020, the year where all of these tweets are referring to, it was the year when George Floyd was killed. And it felt like safety and justice had never been further apart. And it was actually Eric Adams in 2021 who said that New Yorkers need not choose between these two things. And so one of my focuses was, how do we deliver that justice? And now what I know, having represented 100,000 people in Western Queens, is that to deliver that justice, you have to also deliver that safety. And that means representing the men and women in the NYPD. It means representing the black and brown New Yorkers who've been victims of police brutality. It means representing the Muslim New Yorkers.
Also, notice how he's not saying that the New York police institution isn't racist. He's just like, yeah, I want to work with them. So I think that means like coming together and everyone does their best to try to make New York a better place. It's not like, oh yeah, I take it back. The New York police institution is totally not racist. He's pretty clearly not saying that.
In my district who were surveilled on the basis of their faith.
68% of independent voters want more police officers on the street. And Cuomo tomorrow night in that debate, he's going to say, I'm going to bring 5,000 more police officers to the street. Will you match that and agree with him on that?
I don't look to Andrew Cuomo for leadership. And
well, will you put 5,000 more cops on the street?
I've been very clear. I want to keep the number of officers that we have, and I want to make it easier for those officers to do their job. And what that means is that we allow officers to focus on serious crimes, and for all of the focus on the head count, we should focus on the retention crisis. When I started running for mayor, 200 officers were leaving the department every month. Now it's 350. And a lot of them are leaving because there's simply no way they can do their job in what's being asked of them. And to your point, however, Andrew Cuomo is going to say a lot of things tomorrow night on the debate stage. And frankly, I wish it was more like NASCAR, so New Yorkers could see the billionaires that were sponsoring him right on his suit jacket. Because this is a man who had 10 years. And I know now that it's politically convenient, he watches Fox News as well. So I'll just speak to him directly. Andrew, you had your chance to lead this state. You took that time to sell out working class New Yorkers to your billionaire donors. And instead of actually meeting the needs of people who couldn't afford to live in the city, you gave
Bro, first of all, adding 5,000 police is fucking comical. Like, she just didn't listen to anything he said. He's like, we need less police. We need police to do less. And she's like, well, would you support 5,000 more police? Even the Fox News audience listening to Zohran wouldn't support that after the case he just laid out for the police doing too much. And then she's like, well, would you support Cuomo in doing this? No, he wouldn't. And he just ignores that bullshit question and then is like, let me actually do a WWE style call out where I look directly into the camera and say what a shitty person he is.
$959 million in tax breaks to Elon Musk. And now you want us to believe that we can't spend less money than that to make every bus fast and free in this same city.
All right. I'm squeezing two very quick ones here,
Absolutely.
if you can answer them quickly. Commissioner Tisch, you have suggested that you want her to stay. Have you asked her to stay? And has she said yes? Because I think that is one issue that would go a long way towards police retention.
I've said that I appreciate Commissioner Tisch's record of uprooting corruption in the upper echelons of the NYPD.
Yep.
Bro, police retention is such a fake issue, too. Are you having issues with police retention? Because I think the biggest issue with police retention is when they were all dying from COVID and they were refusing to get vaccinated. Police retention is the biggest issue of our time. Okay, let's continue. Good.
I've appreciated her presiding over drops in crime across the city, and I continue to actively consider her to be my police commissioner. I haven't made any personnel commitments.
Okay, so you don't want to ask her right now?
No. That's the kind of conversation I would actually have in person, in private, not a politics opinion.
Okay, it's an issue that a lot of people brought up with me when I told them I was going to be speaking with you. Last question. You want to have a World Cup czar. I know you're a huge soccer fan, Arsenal fan. I have a lot to learn about soccer. I'm happy to admit that. And I look forward to learning more. That would be great. What is this World Cup czar going to do for New York City business?
The World Cup is the largest sporting event in the world. And it's as if no one has been thinking or talking about it here in New York City government. It's coming next summer to this city. We're going to have billions of people watching. The World Cup czar is going to ensure that this is a tournament that New Yorkers remember as well, not just those who visit us. That it's a tournament that will signify an increase, not only in tourism, but for small businesses and an exploration of this city. Because for too long, we have had these kinds of opportunities that we've just passed up on. I mean, we recently had the 400th anniversary of New York City. Most people have no idea.
Right, good
because,
point.
because the city didn't do anything about it.
Well, President Trump's going to make a huge deal out of the 250th anniversary of New York City. So maybe there's an example there. And he and his family, his son is a huge soccer fan. So would you welcome them to New York to enjoy the World Cup with you?
Did you just say Donald Trump? Are you going to invite Donald Trump?
I would welcome them to come to New York City.
And I have a lot to learn about soccer. I'm happy to admit that. And
Be
I
happy
look
to
forward
come
to
back and
learning
teach you
more.
about it.
That would be great. What is this World Cup czar going to do for New York City business?
The World Cup is the largest sporting event in the world. And it's as if no one has been thinking or talking about it here in New York City government. It's coming next summer to this city. We're going to have billions of people watching. The World Cup czar is going to ensure that this is a tournament that New Yorkers remember as well, not just those who visit us. That it's a tournament that will signify an increase, not only in tourism, but for small businesses and an exploration of this city. Because for too long, we have had these kinds of opportunities that we've just passed up on. I mean, we recently had the 400th anniversary of New York City. Most people have no idea.
Right, good point.
Because the city didn't do anything about it.
Well, President Trump's going to make a huge deal out of the 250th anniversary of New York City. So maybe there's an example there. And he and his family, his son is a huge soccer fan. So would you welcome them to New York to enjoy the World Cup with you?
I would welcome them to come to New York City and also to talk about how we can actually lower the cost of living, because that has to be the focus. And
bro, he's so good. He's so good at cutting through the bullshit, man. It's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this fun. Like, look, this is Zohran. We're gonna do this fun thing. We're gonna do this thing that's good for America. Fox News. Well, why aren't you nice to Trump? Why don't you condemn Hamas? And then Zohran's like, well. And then he flips it into a good thing. Well, with Trump, I'd also like to talk to him about the cost of living. With Hamas, I think Hamas should be held to the same standards that all countries should be held, which is just promoting human dignity and peace and upholding international law, which is why I would also arrest Netanyahu. Like, he's so good at saying something positive. Fox News tries to undermine it, and then flipping that undermining bullshit that Fox News is throwing his way into a positive. Oh yeah, I'd love to welcome Donald Trump into New York City, and then we can also talk to him about lowering the cost of living, propping himself up, and throwing a dig at Donald Trump because he has just made America more unaffordable due to his inflationary policies with tariffs and cutting investment that Joe Biden was really worked really hard to achieve. It's just so good, man. Like, promoting himself while also throwing a dig at Trump, jujitsuing Fox News's really flimsy attacks on him. But the thing is, those attacks would work for a regular Democratic politician, but Zohran is just insanely good at actually talking and promoting himself.
frankly, that's a promise that's been broken. It's time to fix it, and that's what I'm running to do.
Zohran Mamdani, thank you very much. Pleasure to talk to you. Hope we can continue the conversation. We'll be watching the debate really closely tomorrow night and the whole race as we.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, there's a debate tomorrow night, so I'm going to call it there. There was some Asmon Gold stuff that I wanted to cover, but anyway. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your night. Black Smoke Sim, happy to have you in chat. Consider subscribing. It's only 99 cents if you want your name in green. But yeah, everyone have a great rest of your night. Debate tomorrow. I should watch that. That'll be fun. And go, if you're not subscribed to Do Not Worry podcast, go subscribe to him. Show him some love with the whole shock collar, zapping away some of his fans. Anyway, guys, have a great rest of your night, and I'll talk to all of you later. Peace.